Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Good evening,
Doing well. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, good.
Yes, we are good. Good evening.
Great.
Good evening. We all do good.
Good evening. Hopefully everybody had a great week.
Good. How are you?
Good. It's the weekend. So weekend is time for you to reset and get ready for Monday. I appreciate everybody's time. We will be starting here shortly. Kindly put where you're joining us from in the chat. And we will do well and give you some shout out. This week, I think for the past week and a half, we've been privileged. We've had almost 5+, I think, still counting, of our own in Eretmis family who've gotten their first 6 figures, 100K plus jobs, and we're going to do job placement for the next 2 weeks. So we just thought it would be more fun to bring them in since it is very fresh, the interview process and all that, for them to come in, give their own version of what they went through, and then also for you to quiz them and for questions that you might have, and for you to pick their brain on some of how they answer some of these questions and all that. And then also we are about to roll out a program, a GRC interview club, sort of. So a GRC interview program whereby you can have sessions for purely just for GRC interview prep, and more details on that be sent out during the week. So we are introducing that also as well. And next week, since we are going to be doing the second session of this, for the second batch of students who have gotten jobs who will be coming, all the details for the GRC interview prep that we are bringing up, that will be ready. So we roll it out and you can start making appointments and booking, and we take you through the different job roles that you might want to target within the GRC space. So you are welcome once again. We are starting time now. And for tonight, we have, I think, 6 folks that we are going to be talking with, but we are going to have only 3 for the panel. And then next week, we are going to have 3. Last time we did like a panel of 5. We couldn't really get the most of everyone. And then also we're kind of running out of time. So we are just going to do 3. And then next week we are going to do 3 or 4, right? So everybody on here, I will do some of the introduction and then they also introduce themselves. But 1 or 2 of them, they have a very interesting, story and an interesting background. So we are starting time now. And I appreciate everybody's participation, and I can see this is a topic that is dear to most people's heart. So it is always good, even if you're in the industry, to learn more about what happened when other folks went to interviews and the rest. And if you are looking to get a second job or third job, this is also a place for you to learn a lot in terms of preparing yourself for the job market, right? So welcome once again to Eretmis Cyber Chat. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. I'm going to be your co-pilot because I have 3 more pilots today. So we are going to be running this together, and you are very much welcome. So tonight is going to be a discussion panel. We are going to be talking about cybersecurity interview prep. So we are doing this tonight and then next week also as well, right? So hopefully my panel members are already in seated and ready to go. And a little bit about myself, if you are new to the family, I know every week we have some new additions to the family. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. I'm a former United States Army captain. The owner of Eretmis Inc. and also the CEO of Eretmis Inc., cybersecurity consulting firm based out of New York. And if you are here, we probably, came through Eretmis Academy. That is the school, associated with Eretmis Inc., the cybersecurity consulting firm. I'm also a QSA, a PCI QSA, and soon to be an ASV. Eretmis, by the end of this week, we are going to be ASV certified, PCI ASV certified. And I'm going to be an ASV, Captain AJ, and others are also going to be certified as ASVs. And if you don't know what an ASV is, we'll talk about that later, right? So I love cybersecurity, teaching, mentoring, everything cybersecurity. And we do this cyber chat every Friday night. It's totally free. I saw some people were asking in the group chat, hey, how much is this? We do it totally free. One, to help the community to grow in terms of their cybersecurity career, and then also to create more awareness about cybersecurity topics and issues. So you are very much welcome. Make a point to join us every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And this is where you come to learn and sharpen your skills as a security professional, and then also get some security insights for the week, right? And this is how you also grow. So Eretmis Inc., we are partners, Eretmis Academy, not Eretmis Inc., we are partners with CompTIA, we are authorized partners. And what this means is that for vouchers, if you are looking to sit for any of the CompTIA exams, we have a 20% discount that we give to you. So most people, some people, a couple of people have been reaching out. We don't have a voucher for the 20%, right? What happens is that if you're an authorized member, they give you, you have your own portal. And if you purchase vouchers through the portal, they automatically apply the 20%. So mostly you send us the money for the voucher for with a discount, and then we purchase. So for us, we are just doing you that favor. There is nothing, we don't get paid for anything. And doing that legwork for you to just to get you the 20% off. So that is how it happens. We don't give you the voucher. You send the money. If you reach out, you send the money minus the 20%, and then we purchase on your behalf. We send you the voucher. So for folks who've used it, they can attest to it, right? So, and then also for continuous education, for certifications, if you have any certification, CompTIA, a Security Plus, Security Analyst, any other ones, every 3 years you have to renew. And if your renewal is coming up, you can use CyberChat as continuous educational points and to renew without sitting for the exam, right? So if you go to CompTIA's website or any of these certifications website, if you look up continuous educational points for renewal, you are going to see the step-by-step what they need you to do. But all for joining live sessions like this, type in Team Live in the chat and take a screenshot of it. That counts as 1 point for your continuous educational points, right? So you can do that right now and take a screenshot of that and save it. Now for WhatsApp, we have a WhatsApp group, Eretmis Cybersecurity WhatsApp group. And for everything that we do in Eretmis, in the Eretmis community, we post it on there. It's a very good group if you want to, keep up to date with cybersecurity trends. I think we are about almost full, 3 or 4 slots left. So the link has been posted in the chat. You can use that to join the group. If it is full, you just wait when somebody drops out. You'll be able to join. And our YouTube channel, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Everything that we are doing here, we posted on YouTube. So you always can go back to it and also learn from it, right? We are at 1 million subscribers. Our goal was to hit 1 million by October. We hit it earlier than October. We still encourage you to subscribe and share the channel as well. That way other people will benefit from it. And for tonight, we will look at cyber news, and then we will jump into our discussion panel. So before we jump into cyber news, if my panel members are here, they can give me a thumbs up. That way, once we're done, we will just jump straight into our interview prep. And so today we will just do, Dr. Edu asks maybe 2 or 3 questions, and then we will open up for everybody to ask their question, right? So I think in the WhatsApp group, Eric posted this in there, and we're going to talk about this anyways during Cyber Chat. So for cyber news, there is a vulnerability that affects everybody on here. And this vulnerability has been there for 18 years. And you might be asking, what have we been doing for the past 18 years? Why haven't we been able to fix this? I think it's just an oversight. But I can't really speak to it because I don't work in any of these companies who, are the ones supposed to fix this. But the browsers that we are using, browsers that are running on Mac, either Mac OS or Linux, they have a failure whereby an attacker can, use this vulnerability to execute different types of malicious tax, right? So we are going to dig a little bit into it and see what these companies have done about it. So companies that have been affected or that are that this affects Windows systems are out. Windows browsers are out. Is Mac browsers that run on Mac OS or Linux. So like Safari, Chrome, Google Chrome, and then also Firefox, right? Those ones are the ones that have been affected. And the details of this is, for IP addresses, your traditional private IP addresses is the 192 type of, those are private and you shouldn't be able to access them over the net. But 0.0.0 is a bit different. So 0.0.0.0 IP address is kind of a special IP address, and there's a vulnerability in these browsers which allows malicious actors, even folks who are doing research, to be able to have access to our browsers and then, in so doing to our systems. So that poses that threat, right? There's a security company that has come across this also again as a vulnerability that still exists, and they are the ones who brought it up this week. And this has been around, it was discovered 18 years ago, right? But I'm not sure why nothing has been done about it. So malicious actors, they can bypass website security with this form of vulnerability, right? And they will be able to run services that are able to get on the local network of organizations, right? So, and this can lead to unauthorized access and remote code execution. The RC is also another form of attack, right? So, like I said, for browsers that have been affected or that have this flaw, Linux, the ones running Linux, so Safari, which runs on Mac OS, Firefox, Chrome, right, and other browsers that are extensions of Chrome, they are the ones that are susceptible to this, right? So this type of vulnerability is that the 0.0.0 vulnerability, and this flaw should have been fixed a long time ago, but it's still there. It allows access from external websites it allows access from external websites, which shouldn't be the case. So, like I was saying, our normal private IPs, the 192s and 127s, those cannot be accessed over the internet because they are private. But 0.0.0 kind of is out of that range, and it allows for such access to happen, right? So what are organizations doing about it? These organizations that have been affected. So Apple for Safari, they've blocked 0.0.0.0. So in the upcoming version of their web browser, and Firefox, they have not done anything immediately. They are still working on it. Chrome has also blocked 0.0.0, right? So as a temporal fix, but also I think Firefox, they've also blocked 0.0 as a temporal fix. But the main fix, I think they are all still working on it. But this should have been done a while ago. So I'm not really sure what the issue was. And somebody or a group just brought it up. That is where everybody is shifting their attention to. But this is something that if you are using another version of these browsers, you might be more susceptible to this because it's the new versions that they are blocking the 0.0.0 from having access to anything within the browser and outside the browser as well, right? And with that, I'll leave the floor for maybe two or three cyber chats, cyber news for this week, and then we are going to move on and do our discussion. So if you have any, cyber news outside what we just looked at, you can raise your virtual hand and we give you the floor, look at it briefly, and then we move on. And Eric, I've seen Eric is on here. If you have any additions, Eric, you can add to this if there is any twist to this type of vulnerability that we did not mention.
No, there is not. So as I said before, it's better to use now specific routes instead of using the default route.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. So before we jump into our interview prep, so if you are looking to jump into the cybersecurity space, you are totally new, or even if you have some IT background, our cybersecurity entry-level course is the best option for you. It comes with the training itself, taking you through all the foundational knowledge, moving you from foundational knowledge to intermediate level knowledge, also skills, working with some of the popular tools in the industry, most of the popular software, that we use in the industry. And then the last portion of it is the GRC internship, where we walk you through working on real world security projects. Then we do job placement assistance, similar to what we are going to do for the interview prep. We do full blown interview prep for you also as well. So this is a full package that takes you from where you are to where you can start working as a cybersecurity professional. Now, you don't need an IT background, cybersecurity background. Prerequisite to this, you should be computer literate, at least, send emails, download simple softwares here and there, and then also you should have at least high school, should be able to read and write. That is all that you need, right? And we'll do the rest. So whatever industry you are in, we will, pick you up and move you into the cybersecurity space with ease, right? Although there's some work to be done, but we make it easy because we are really packaging you as a very comprehensive cybersecurity professional to be able to function anywhere. And our PCI DSS training, our payment security compliance training for folks already in IT or in cybersecurity looking to specialize in one of the arguably the most lucrative niche within cybersecurity space, you can jump onto this also as well. Our next class will be in September. So you can look into this. If you go to our website, we have a PCI for beginners training. If you are new to PCI, you don't know what it entails. And then also for our entry level, we have cybersecurity for beginners. If you're also new to the cybersecurity space, it gives you a very good background into cybersecurity, right? And for folks who've gone through other training, GRC training elsewhere, you've done maybe RMF, you've done some compliance training, but you are really lacking the hands-on real world experience. You've not worked on any projects. So if you go to interviews, you don't have any projects to talk about. You are just talking about something that you've studied or memorized somewhere. And eventually you are going to get to the point where it's very obvious to you and also to the person interviewing you that you don't really know what you are talking about, right? So you are trying as much as you can to talk around stuff, but if you've never done it, you've not done it. Our internship, GRC internship, helps you to really work on projects for two of our sister companies. And when you come out of this, you'll be in a better position because you've done and you've worked on projects. These projects, they go on your resume, and the companies you are working for, they go on you. So you don't have to lie on your resume about things you didn't do, right? So everything on there you can define because you've actually done it. And then also, most importantly, on the job, you can talk your way through interviews and get a job, but you can't talk your way through doing the job. You can't talk your way around it. You have to actually do it. But if you've gone through this program, you will be able to do the job effectively, and we can promise you that, right? So with that, we are going to look at our upcoming conference. That is going to be in Maryland, October 25th to 27th. The link for you to show your interest has been posted. You are just showing your interest, and the more response we get to that, the better it's going to help us with finishing some of the planning processes or some of the planning items that we have on this conference. So we are hoping this is going to be our first our maiden event, and this is going to have massive participation. It's going to be fun. So kindly use the link to show your interest, and we will give you more details as the weeks progress. And with that, we are going to move into our panel discussion with interview prep. And the first question, how do you prep for a cybersecurity interview? My guests for tonight is going to be Vincent, Derek, and Joel. If you're on here, you can kindly raise your virtual hand, and I'm going to pin you on here. That way, it's very easy for us to, pull you up and start the discussion. Thank you, Derek. I think Derek is here, so pinned. Okay. If you are here, Vincent, you can also let me know. Oh, and I think I saw Joel also on there.
Yes, Doc, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, Doc, I just told you I'm here. It's just that I'm on the phone. That's why I didn't have my video
okay.
on. Yeah, but I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me though?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear you. So
Yeah.
we'll start with a quick intro, right? So I'll do my own intro because I have some funny stuff to say, and then we'll move on. So I'll start with Derek, right? And like, I talk to everybody. That is part of my job. I love to talk to everybody. I see where you started from. So when you get to that, point, okay, Dr. Edu, there's always that moment where I remember where I was when I talked to everybody. I don't, even if it was like 4 years ago, right? So Derek, maybe he probably forgot or he doesn't remember. First time I talked to Derek, he might probably know. So I was there, Derek, I had a call, and this guy on the other side, hey, Dr. Edu, how are you doing? I'm good. Oh, Dr. Edu, thank you very much. I've been watching your videos on YouTube, uh, and I got a job. I think he got a job through most of the videos during interviews because he was at programs like this, right? Interview preps. So he picked one or two from them. I think he did some, self-study and other things elsewhere. So he pieced it all together, but it helped him to land his first cybersecurity job, right? And we did a video or we did a discussion on CIS controls and how to implement it and how to use it. So Derek called, has gone through most of the free stuff. And he's like, well, so CIS controls, I have to use it at work. But do you have any material or, any tools to help me do it? I'm like, yeah. So he went through all the free stuff. You got a job, you're getting paid 6 figures plus. And you didn't even come back to Eretmis and say, hey, you guys for being good, just take this to support Cyber Chat, which kind of helped you a lot. But you are just coming for more free stuff. I'm like, okay. For just tools to hand over to you, that one is not really going to help you because you don't really know how to use CIS controls really well. We just gave an intro. So there is an internship going on. The internship I was talking about, the GRC internship, it has just started. Join it because everything that you're talking about you doing at work is exactly what we are doing there. So you actually get to do it. And Derek is like, well, but I have to. So I think Derek didn't join the one that was going on. So fast forward 3 months later, Derek calls and he said, well, I was having some issues at work. So he either dropped out of work or he had to quit or, whatever. So now he's ready. He wants to come and do the GRC internship. I'm like, okay. We thank God that didn't work out. Just kidding. But fast forward, Derek went through the GRC internship. Now, after the GRC internship, he could attest to it that now he's really ready because he knew a lot, he's done a lot. And if he had done that before his first, gig, he would have, walked through that easy peasy, right? But anyway, how Derek went through, he's done, he has landed his second cybersecurity 6-figure role. So he's here to, talk to us. Now he's been there, he's done that. He was able to wing his way through, get his first gig. He kind of struggled with it. Now he came through the right path, did it the right way, has a lot of experience under his belt, went back, was able to nail the interview. And, I can say that Derek, in the next probably like 2-3 months, he's going to land his second role. And moving from Derek I'll jump to Vincent and I'll have Derek introduce himself. So Derek, go ahead and introduce yourself. I did a kind of really good background intro. Maybe probably he didn't remember all the details, but I remember everything.
No,
Right. Go ahead, Derek. Introduce
I,
yourself a little bit, then we move on to Vincent.
I do remember everything that you just mentioned. It is true that
I had my first job and I was struggling for CIS controls that we were implementing. We were working on it. So I watched Doctor through YouTube and figured out how to understand how to work on it. And as Doctor said, he advised me to join a class, and I was like, I think I know what I'm doing. And got to the point that it was too difficult for me. So fast forward, I left that job and I got back to his classes and take the internship. Really, it's really helped me to understand a lot of stuff that I was having difficulties. And right after that, I tried to apply a couple of jobs. I'm sorry, it's a tea for me sometimes. You wake up in the morning, you look at your email, and I'm sorry, but persistently, I work hard. Sometimes I stay overnight to like maybe 3 a.m. before I go to bed. I have my friends, my colleagues that we went to the school. We did an internship that we always connected here and there. Samuel Boache, Joel, who also landed a job. Mike Yabua, I reach out to him sometimes to also help me out if I get into issues. Felix Boatin, he also landed his job not long ago. In fact, what I would say is, Dr. Do, keep on what you're doing. God bless you. It's just an amazing, once you finish this internship with him, I think you will have more confidence to take interviews. It's not, it will take the nervous out of you. And I promise you that you land whatever job that you have to land. As he said, I just landed a job. I still have a couple interviews that I'm still taking them. Some interviews I have to go physically into the site, which because I'm, now I take the nervous out. I told them, yes, I'm ready, I'm coming. So I will encourage everyone here to take the nervous out. There's a lot of jobs out there, You just have to keep on applying. But my only advice is, if you become lazy, then trust me, you won't get anywhere. You'll be listened and listen. Dr. Du will do whatever he can, but if you don't take anything serious, keep on applying, keep on taking the interviews. What I do is usually I record my interviews. So after the interview, I go back and play and listen to where where I'm shorting and all that, and improve myself from there. I can't say much. I know we still have a lot to talk about. I will leave the floor to Doctor for my other colleagues to also introduce themselves. Again,
Okay.
My background too was HVAC. HVAC meaning heating and air conditioning, plumbing. I did not know anything about how to even turn off computer and turn it back on, use Excel, Word, a lot of stuff that I didn't know how to work on it. But with the persistence and determination, right now I'm comfortable with everything that I'm doing. You just have to have courage and determined that you can do it, and you will do it. And that is all what I can say at the moment. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Derek. So we move on to Vincent. Now, Vincent is in the PCI space. So Vincent went through our PCI training, PCI internship. And I think Vincent has been part of a couple of the panels that we've had on PCI. So I'll leave Vincent to also introduce himself. And there's a video of Vincent that I'm probably going to play maybe one of these days. There was a cyber chat when Vincent was in the, like, I have everybody's story, right? Because, Vincent was on cyber chat. He's been in the PCI training. He wasn't done. And I think somebody has landed a job, I think 2 or 3 people, and we were doing something like this. And they were talking about how they'll reach out to Dr. Edu and they'll have an interview, one-on-one prep, and that helped them. And Vincent was like, well, Dr. Edu, how can we also have that one-on-one access to you? But before then, a week before, Vincent just had one-on-one like meeting. Like, what is Vincent talking about? Right? He's like, yeah, for the job prep, we have that on record. Like, but Vincent, we just spoke last 2 weeks or last week, one-on-one. Yeah, but fast forward, Vincent landed his and he's here. So anybody else who wants to follow Vincent, ask, hey, doctor, when can I talk to you one-on-one? Ask Vincent. He'll give you that answer. All right, Vincent, so go ahead. Kindly introduce yourself.
Dr. Z, that's a nice segue into this introduction. That's felt so long ago, but yeah, like I said, my name is Vincent Demeke. I work right now for a company, Kirkpatrick Price. We do information security audits, so I'm an information security auditor. When I came in, when Dr. Du and I met, I was struggling. You know, it was not like I'd done a bit of things, but it wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted that niche in cybersecurity. I didn't want to do the very technical stuff. So I started watching the videos on YouTube, and then one day I decided to reach out. And once I spoke to him, I was like, I think you should join the PCI class. It seems to me like that's what you really want to do. And I said yes. And I started off and started taking the videos, started taking the class and all that. I think I was about a month into the class and I felt ready. I felt I was ready to go and I started applying. It was a matter of weeks before I landed the very first job that I landed after taking that training. As a matter of fact, once I landed that job, I got so busy that I technically just dropped out of the class, meaning I was no longer able to make meetings, the live classes. I had to like make up with videos and all that. But the moral of the story is just like what Eric had already pointed out. To land a job or get a foot in the door, you have to apply. And when you apply, you have to take interviews. And the secret to all of this is it doesn't matter how many interviews you do. What is most important is that you have the perseverance to keep going, because you're definitely not going to get all the jobs you've applied for. And that's what you get from a group like this or from what Dr. Adu offers, because you see people living the same experience with the same experience which you're trying to get. You know, I remember I had to prepare for one interview and I reached out to Michael, and Michael and I went through the spread. The same thing, a day before the interview that finally landed me the job, I reached out to Dr. Adu and we just spoke and it was like, okay, this is what I think from the job description. This is what I think they're likely to ask you, you know, I mean, and it just turned out like that. And I went for that interview. Is that I was so scared because the whole thing just moved so fast, you know, got a call on a Monday, had a first interview, went through that. The next day, they were like, we're ready to move you forward. And in a week, I think by the Friday of that week, they wanted to meet in person and they had booked a flight for me to come over. And I remember on that Friday, the cyber chat was going on like this when I pinged Dr. Adi that I just landed a job and he shared it in a meeting like this. So the point is, this is possible for everyone aspiring to get in. It's very possible. It's not impossible. So I'll leave it at that, just so someone else can talk and we can get started.
All right. Thank you, Vincent. And so for everyone, you know, as part of the panel, we are a very supportive family. Like Vincent was saying, he was reaching out to other people who are taking the lead when he was, you know, trying to get where he's at now. Same thing for Derek, for everybody. So they are all very accessible. You can reach out to Derek, Vincent. We have them put their contacts in there, so you can reach out to them, right? You know, at the back door, and you know, pick their brain on anything that you might need help with, right? You whether you're a student or not, if you are here today, you are part of the Eretmis family. So with that, we will move to Joel. So Joel, please go ahead and also give us a quick intro, and then we will start.
All right. Thank you, guys. So for me, I think I first contacted Dr. Du somewhere in July 2022. And I told him I have no background in cybersecurity and I want to, you know, join. And he told me I should go on the website and just take the free the entry-level course. But then after I spoke to him, I didn't really, you know, do it because I was thinking of getting a second master's degree in cybersecurity. And I have this friend, he was part of our class, Thomas. So Thomas called me and was like, you don't have to get a second master's degree, you know, just go and take the class. So he kept, you know, dragging me and all of that. And I mean, finally in 2023, I think I met him in person because we were taking our doctorate, class together. And he told me, I'm telling you, like when you join these classes, you're gonna be fully prepared. And I was kind of scared because I had no background in cybersecurity. I was just coming from the finance, sector. So I I finally, reached out to Dr. Edu and, decided to, join the class. And we did an internship, I think from June. I was in the same class with Derek, Thomas, Hildy, Cashier, a couple of people. And we started when we started, it was for me, it was kind of, it was new to me. So what I would do is after the class, I'll just reach out to Derek, I'll reach out to Thomas, I'll reach out to Hildy, and then I'll just let them take me over everything again, And we got to a point we had to form a group, a group behind a group, So after whatever meeting we have, we go and meet there, and if you have any question, they will kind of explain everything. And after the internship, I started applying right away. I think I started applying during the internship. I just wanted to test the waters. And I did, and my first cybersecurity interview, it was the questions were very technical, and I felt very embarrassed going for that interview because I didn't know anything they asked me. I couldn't, say anything. I was very embarrassed, and I said to myself, well, I mean, I'll just give myself some time. So I think one day during Cyber Chat, Dr. Edu was saying, you need to keep applying. You need to keep applying. You have to, apply. So I started applying every time. Like I made it my new job. My new job was to be applying every time. And I kept, getting interviews. The second interview wasn't good. The third one wasn't good. The fourth one, the fifth one. And it was because I was kind of new. But then as you keep taking these interviews, you kind of become a master of every question that you have, you've been asked before. You go back and, go and revise and all of that. Then I also watch the videos that we did in the class and everything that we did. And I really, started getting some good interviews with some big companies, big financial companies. And finally I got, the job that I wanted just this last week. So that is where I will leave it for now, and then for other people to take over.
Okay. Thank you. So our panelists, Derek, Joel, Vincent, thank you very much. Now, we are going to start, since we have two parts, next week we're also going to continue. So we are going to start with this. Well, after, without going into the training and the, hands-on or the internship real world training that you have to get, or, real world experience that you have to get to be able to land, not just to land, but also land your first role or second role, but also to be able to perform on the job. In terms of prepping yourself, how did you prepare yourself, right? So look at it from the technical standpoint, also the soft skills standpoint, and then also your mental standpoint, because I think we missed that point, right? Going through different rejections. No, we are moving on with somebody else. No, we are moving on with somebody else, and still keep pushing. How did you prepare yourself for your role? I mean, going through the interviews with the rejections, and for the technical side, non-technical, how did you prepare yourself mentally? How did you prepare yourself? So I think we will start with Joel, since Joel was the last person to speak. So Joel will go, and then we'll move to Vincent and then Derek. So Joel, how did you prepare?
So for me, I believe preparing for your interview requires a combination of the technical knowledge and then understanding of the company and, the ability to articulate your experience clearly. Most of the times you also have to know what is on your resume. Just to chip this in, I think I applied to a job, and Derek had also applied to the same job. And we had a recruiter, an old recruiter, I think she's an old lady. And she was too technical that she goes point by point on your resume. She picks this point and she's asking you, tell me this. Okay, do you know how to use ServiceNow? Okay, when you go into this system, how do you do this? So there are certain things you put on your resume. I feel like you have to be prepared to, defend it. Also, you have to understand the role you are applying to. You know, you have to review the job description, you know, like you have to identify the key skills, the tools that they require, the certifications, and you kind of match it to your skills and see if you are really up there or you're able to perform it. Most of the time, I think Dr. Edu once said to me that don't look at the job, the title of the job. Just go into the job responsibilities and see if you're able to do it. If you're able to do it, just go for it. And in preparation, you also have to research about the company, you know, and you have to review I would say prepare for behavioral questions. That is what at times I do, you know, because most of the interview I did that got me my job. About 60% of the questions were behavioral questions. And if you are not able to match the question to any past experience and you kind of fumble, they will know maybe you've not done that. So you have to, you know, prepare for those, you know, ones and showcase your experience during those behavioral interviews. And I believe you just have to do mock interviews and feedback. At times, I would just call Derek and say, "Hey, can you just put me through this?" I'll call Thomas, and Thomas will just run some questions. We take the job responsibilities and put them in maybe ChatGPT, and we say, "Okay, can you prepare interview questions and answers based on these job responsibilities?" And it brings out interview questions and answers, how you're going to be able to answer them. And at times, it might not be the same questions that come up, but because you have an idea, it helps you. So this is how I kind of prepare for, you know, the interviews.
Okay, thank you, Joel. We go to Vincent. Vincent, please go ahead. Technical side, soft skills, mentally, how do you prepare yourself?
All right. Can you hear me now? I was
Yes.
on the road earlier when I was talking about back at home. So I like to break this down into, I think, two parts. First part is you actually do need the skills. You know, you can't have everything at one go. That's a fact. But you do need the skills. And that's why I always encourage people, like, if you're in this group, this is free. But if you really want to learn, this is a meeting where this is like everybody has done the work all through the week. And we're just coming here to chill and have a panel discussion, just iron sharpens iron, to just hear from everyone else. But what you do at your own spare time in the classes you enroll in, remember when you enroll, say, in a course like Eretmis Academy, you're enrolling in your own name. It's the same thing when you apply for a job. So you have to first put in the work. You know, we're watching the Olympics now. It takes people years to prepare for all that. Eric just shared a story of how he actually left the job and came back and started studying and went through the process again. So that's the first part of it. Before you can even start applying, you need the skills first. Now, we all learn in different ways. It might take you a year. It might take some people 6 months. It might take you a month to learn the things you need to know. But you need the skills first. That's the technical part of it. No one can help you with that. You have to commit yourself to it, devote yourself to the process. Now, when you then start interviewing, you probably get some one or two of them, and it will be wrong. And you could tell, okay, I just flubbed that. That was not a very good interview. And then you'll then come back and start getting better. There's an art to interviewing. It takes a while because your very first one, it's natural with everyone. You'll be nervous. You know, you'll talk too fast. You're just so desperate to land that job that you'd actually just screw things up. So learn the skills and then start working on the art of interviewing. When people are talking to you, you have an accent. You've got to slow down so people can understand what you're saying. You know, you need to learn all those little tricks like slow down, speak slowly, let people understand, mean every word you're saying. Let people understand that you know it. And then speak the language of the industry. I remember this like it was yesterday. That was one of the things Dr. Adu used to hammer when we're taking the class. You have to know industry terms. Because even if you know the concept, but you don't know the term, they could tell you're faking it. You know, that way they would, okay, they will get back to you. And they would never, they would say, we'll get back to you. And they never will come back. But as you get better, so two things I want to leave everyone with. Learn the skills first, get the skills, get
Dr. Du always says you don't have to go take a certification, but you need to know enough that if you do decide to take the certification, you would pass. People come to Eretmis. Michael was a nurse. Another guy was working in the prison service. And they all came and went through the same program and they got their jobs. Yeah, Kingsley, I'll never forget that too. So those things are important. So get the skills first. You know, you're like someone training to be professional at what you're doing. Get the skills. The skills are very important. And that means committing yourself to the process, enrolling in classes like this. Sometimes it's free, learning, watching videos, you know, you can do all of that, buying books, investing in the process. Once you do that, you then have to start learning how to interview. When it comes to interview, things you need to emphasize, those technical skills you've learned, you have to bring them to bear. And then you also then have to speak the industry language, learn the art of interviewing, like the process. How do you talk to people to explain that you actually know what you know? And another thing I always emphasize, and I'll wrap up with this, when you go to an interview, and this was another lesson that I took from Dr. Adu, you have to be able to emphasize that you are a team player. Because there are jobs where there's hardly any job where you'll be the only one doing it. They are bringing you into a team that already exists and they expect you to fit in. So you have to be able to convince someone that if you take a chance on me, I'm not coming to break your team. That's one thing I've learned that recruiters would always ask. It's not just recruiters. When you finally get to the hiring manager, they want to see what personality you're bringing in to the team and how that would blend with a team that already exists. So you have to emphasize the fact that I am a team player. I know what I'm doing when I come into a team. This is what I can offer. So all those things I think are pretty important. Please don't forget the points I made. Learn the skills, then learn how to interview. That'll probably take 1 or 2 tries, but with time, everyone gets better at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. So we are going to get into the act of interviewing. So more to come on that. Derek, please go ahead. How did you prepare, technical wise, soft skills wise, mentally? How did you prepare for the whole entire process and going through it? If you can share more light on that.
Oh, thank you. Mentally, you have to be ready. I will start with the mentally. The reason why I'm saying is sometimes you may be confident that, oh, you get this job, or you know that this job you're going to hear from them. The next day or 3 days, you're going to see that, hey, we are sorry we can't move forward with you, or we have better people than your qualifications and all that. It make you feel bad that why you? Because looking at the job description, you know yourself that you can perform the job very well. There was one incident that happens to me a few months ago that mentally it just break my heart. I had an interview that, you know, the guy, the hiring manager was like, you know what, is it possible you can come over to the site? We get you a hotel for 1 week, we pay for it. Kind of meet the other colleagues up there, even though it's a remote. And I was like, yeah, sure. All right, so you hear from the HR and then blah, 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 blah. So within 2 days, I did not hear anything. I sent them a note to say, look, the one thing is anytime you get an interview after the interview, please make sure you send thank you letter to whoever you spoke to, either the HR, the recruiter, whoever. So I sent an email just to thank the hiring manager for his time and all that. And the HR get back to me like, oh, Derek, thanks for your beautiful notes and all that. The next day, then I get an email that they are sorry, they can't move forward with me. In fact, it shut my feelings down, and about 3 days, I stay away from computer because I knew I was going to have that job. And I spoke to Samuel Watchit, and I spoke to Joel. They all advised me, look, that's how it is. You know, you've been there, you know how it is. So just keep on doing what you're doing. I spoke to Michael, they all tell me the same thing. So fast forward, what I want to tell each and everyone here is you get a lot of unfortunate news. That does not mean you have to stay, you know, just don't continue what you're doing. Just continue what you're doing. And then you also need to know how your resume, do you know everything in your resume? Because some of the hiring managers, they can go boot to boot with you on your resume. They will ask you questions direct, as Joe mentioned that we had one interview, the lady was just more technical. You also need to know, some of the technical ways, how to, if you put the tools up there, you have to check on the YouTube, make sure you have an idea, general idea in case they ask you any question. Be confident when you speak. You also need to know the company, who they are, what they are doing, and try as much as possible to contribute to them, let them know that once you come up, that this is what you are going to do to help them to achieve their goals. They want to see how you are going to contribute. They don't want to see you that you're a team player. So what? You're a team player. What are you going to do? You got to explain to them what you can also contribute. They want to see that a lot. Like I said, I recently had one interview that the HR was so impressed. The way I twisted, I thought he gave me all the company, what they need, what they do, and all that. So I read from everything that he was talking, and I twisted everything to answer her first question, and he was so impressed. And right after we finished, he was like, "You know what? I'm gonna move you to the second stage." So you have to be very careful that you read when they are talking, and you have to also tell them that this is what you are going to do to contribute to help them. In your first introduction to yourself, don't take too much time. Don't take too much time on that. Just give them a few scenario about you and what you're doing and what you think you can contribute, and leave the floor for them to give you any additional questions that they have. That is what I have been learning so far from be bold, speak, as my brother Eric, is that Eric? Vincent just said. We know we have an accent, and it's a big problem. So make sure that when you are speaking, you take your time. Don't blah, 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 blah. They won't hear nothing. Take your time, speak well. If you don't understand the question, you can always ask, can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry, I did not hear what you said. I think we are breaking up. That's what I use. And they will repeat the question nicely so that you can understand it and then answer them the way you can answer the questions. That is what I can say so far. If any other questions, I know we have more questions to be answered or small things to talk about it, so I'll leave the floor for Dr. Du.
Okay, thank you, Derek. So just to add to what everybody said, one, know your cybersecurity lingo, right? Like I think Vincent rightly said, you can know the concepts, you understand it, but you have to speak in cybersecurity language, right? So if you mean to say, vulnerabilities, I'm able to work with my team on vulnerabilities. Don't say on weaknesses or problems that have been found on the network. Use vulnerabilities instead, right? So using the right terminologies. If there are vulnerabilities and they have to be fixed, you are going to remediate the vulnerabilities. Don't say we will fix all the vulnerabilities. So don't be speaking just plain English. Know and use cybersecurity lingo. And for cybersecurity lingo, if you just join Cyber Chat every night on Friday nights, you will keep polishing up on your cybersecurity lingo. So if you went through any of the training or you've been to a training elsewhere and you just sleep on it, if you don't use it, you lose it. So, even if it's not Cyber Chat, join other webinars and programs where people are, discussing and talking about cybersecurity. That way you are keeping up to speed with your cybersecurity lingo. And then also another thing that I want to stress on, as they've been going through, they've all been mentioning names of their colleagues and mates. Reason being that they all have a very good support, group, a cybersecurity family behind every single one of them. And that is mainly from how we've structured our training, our programs in the Eretmis, Academy. right? All programs come with internship, the internships and the course itself, you are going to be in groups, right? And the groups, they stay together even beyond the program. So some of them are calling, some are friends, their families are friends. You know, there was, I think, Eric visited the US and he came to visit some of his internship colleagues. They went to their homes with his family, right? And there's a lot of stories about that. So that bond and that friendship really helps. And you're not going to get that anywhere else. You know, even in college that you were in, for you went to college for 4 years, 2 years with somebody, once you're done, it's just one or two people who are going to stick. But here, because it's a very tight community, you are able to, and we are in the same journey, you know, trying to get to the same destination. So we push each other. And I think Derek is going to, I think Derek or Joel is going to speak to this, because the job that he applied for and the job that he got, it was one of his friends from the internship that sent him that job description and said, "Hey, I think
Yes.
you can
Yeah,
get
that
this."
is, yeah, that is me.
That is Derek. Yes.
Mhm.
So you can get this. And he wasn't even sure himself. Are you sure? But his colleagues saw something in him that he didn't even see himself, and they keep pushing and pushing him to, you know, he did so well and he got it finally. Now, the next one that I want to talk about before I give the floor back to you is they were talking about your resume. So, knowing or being able to different stuff on your resume. The last thing you want to do is to present the resume. You get an interview and they're asking you questions from the resume that you brought. You prepared it and you sent it to them, and they're asking you questions from it, and you have no clue. That makes you look like a moron, right? Your own resume, you have no clue. It's like saying you don't know when you were born and you don't know your name, you don't know where you live, right? You don't know what school you went to. Then there is something wrong, right? If you didn't lose your memory and you know everything is working right, then why would you bring me a resume and say these are the things I've done in security, and I'm asking you something about something that you said you've done and you have no clue? That is the first time you are hearing ServiceNow. Is me asking you, how do you use ServiceNow? You're like, ServiceNow? What is that? That is on your resume. That shows that you just literally did copy and paste. So no, if you're applying to any job, even beyond cybersecurity, you don't want to look dumb. Even if you are copying and pasting, which you shouldn't do, at least you should know the stuff on there. You should have been able to, you should have done something on those lines. If you are copying and pasting, when you finish copying and pasting, kindly go back and revise and learn everything in them. Know how it is done. In security, it's not just about you being able to talk about it. You can talk, so you know, only so much. But if you're talking to somebody who's actually used the tool, who's actually done that job, they will know whether you are just talking or you've actually done. Right? It is very obvious. So, and then also they talked about the technical knowledge, the soft skills, and they talked about confidence. So technical knowledge and soft skills, I'll just put all that together for confidence, right? Derek was saying you have to be confident. You cannot be confident about things that you don't know, right? If I've never lived in Texas and I want to go to an interview to say that when I used to live in Texas, this is what I used to do, so I can do whatever in Texas now, I can be confident all I want. But, you know, deep down in my subconscious, I know, what if they find out that I've not really, you know, done this? So that is why for us, we keep pushing internship and working on real world projects. So you don't have to have worked in security for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. If you've done the project, you've done, because working in cybersecurity, what are you going to do? Working on projects. So if you have the opportunity to work on these projects, you can speak to them. And when you are given a chance, you can also do the work, right? So not having years of experience necessarily is what we're talking about. But, you know, if you have the technical skills and the soft skills, that boosts your confidence, right? If you are very sure of what you are saying, that makes you very confident. So with that, I'm going to jump back to my panelist, and we are going to jump into the technical aspect of this. So we have some of the questions that they went through during their interview. We will have them, you know, we will start with, you know, some of the soft skills portion and ease it into this, make it easy. and then build up into the most technical part of this. So for every interview, they will ask you about, tell me about yourself. That is for every interview. Now, before we get into that, what I want you to also, understand is look at interviews as marriage proposal, right? The interviews that you are going to, look at it as the interview to, propose your significant other, being able to convince them that, hey, I'm going to be the best choice for you for life, right? If you look at it that way, you are going to prepare well, right? So I think I've given this couple examples and, like this examples couple of times and, people kind of, giggle or smile about it. Now, some people will send their resumes and they're like, hey, Dr. Edu, if you guys can take a look at this for me. And on their resume, they have 2 current jobs. So the first job that they have on there, maybe from 2020 to present. The second job is from 2021 to present. And they are looking for a job and they send in this resume to a company. So what you are telling the company is, hey, I have 2 wives and I want you to be my 3rd wife. How well is that going to go for all the ladies who are on here? Or I have 2 husbands and I want you to be my 3rd husband. That is not going to go well, right? So even if you have 2 jobs and you're trying to drop one and pick another one, they don't know you have 2 jobs and they don't care, and you don't have to necessarily tell them, hey, I have these 2 jobs and I want to have yours as a 3rd one. So you have to always put your best foot forward, right? Not to say to lie, but your resume is it's a snapshot of what is relevant in terms of your skills and knowledge to what you're applying for, right? And there's a lot of people applying, so it's competitive. You don't have to put anything that is going to, make you look bad, right? So look at it that way. Now, if you want to marry, let's say Isosa, right? And Isosa is asking you, so what research have you done about me? What do you know about me? Let's say this is the first time. This kind of is like blind marriage. What do you know about me? Why do you want to marry me? Well, Isosa, I know you're a very nice lady. You have money, you have a very good job, and I think you are really going to help me in life. Are you kidding me? So that is reason why she should marry you? Of course not. And a different answer, why do you want to marry me? So you go, oh, so I know you're a very ambitious lady. You are doing this. This is your company. These are the things you do. I have a financial background. I have this, I have that. I'll be able to help you on this side, help you achieve your goal, take care of these areas of your life. That way you don't have to worry about it. I got you on that side. And now, so you are telling Isosa how you are going to help her to get to her. Everybody wants to know how everybody is going to help him or her to get to their destination, right? You want to be with somebody who is going to push you to reach your destination in life, where you want to get to. So same thing, you want to push the company to where they want to get to, business-wise, by taking care of their security needs, making sure they don't have to worry about that aspect. You are going to be a good team player, contribute to the team, right? So with that said, let's get into the soft skills portion. We will start with Vincent. How did you answer questions like, tell me about yourself? And on top of that also, so the first is tell me about yourself. Why should we employ you over everybody else? And the next one is, why do you want to work for a company? How did you answer questions like that for the job that you landed? So Vincent.
Oh yeah, I have a rule of thumb. 2 things. One thing that always helped me is you have to keep in mind that interviews are subjective, meaning you could put your best foot forward, you could do the best you could do. But if the person interviewing is just not into you, there's nothing you can do about it. And remember, these people are spoiled for options. It doesn't mean, they have about 10 other people applying for the same role. So they're not short of options at all. So that's one thing to bear in mind, because one of the reasons why I like what we're doing now is because I get a lot of questions about, I've been applying, I can't get a job. And that's the first thing I tell people, like, you have to understand, keep that in mind. Interviews are subjective, meaning when you go in there and you do all you can do, they just might not get back to you. It's not a reflection of your character as a person. or the fact that you don't have the skills. It just means if you talk to people, it's the same thing with you. You just don't like everyone. That's the first thing. So everyone keep that in mind. Second thing that I always tell people is if you can't do an introduction of yourself in 90 seconds, I think that's too long. You know, if people say, introduce yourself, tell me about yourself, like you have to take the cue of the person interviewing you. You know, for a typical interview, you'll probably meet 3 people, meaning you start first with the recruiter, you go to an hiring manager, and the hiring manager probably has a boss who they want you to meet. So you're meeting 3 people. You've got to remember, you need a different approach for everyone. Number one, for the recruiter, most recruiters are not technical. That's where that first soft skill comes in. You have to be someone who is just friendly. There's got to be a mean to you that just appealing to people. It has to do with appearance, the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, and all of that. So to go back to your question about introduce yourself and all that, the rule for me is please wrap that up in 90 seconds. You need to cultivate a story. When I was in the trenches and trying to break in and looking for a job, I have a friend who is also in this meeting, you know, coincidentally. We would sit each other down. We came up with a story and we'll tell each other that story just to listen to each other. Like that's why I keep saying there's an art to this thing, meaning you have to stick to a consistent story about yourself. So if they ask you, who are you? Tell us what you've done. You can repeat that story every time. Meaning if Dr. Do wakes you up in the middle of the night with a call to help you prepare for an interview, you have to be able to repeat that story just how you're prepared because you're the one trying to look for a job. So I wrap up my stories within 90 seconds. All of that, tell us about yourself. They're not asking about what you did. They're not asking to know where you were born and all of that. They're not even asking if you have kids and all of that. They're not asking if you've been divorced. No one cares about that. Keep it simple, keep it straight, go straight to the point. 90 seconds. Another thing, when they ask you, what can you do for them? Remember, like Dr. Adu said, it's a proposal. And remember the people you're proposing to, they're not spoiled for options at all, meaning they have about 10 people in the line ready to replace you. So when they're asking what you could do for yourself, what you could do for them, they're really asking you what separates you from the next person. And one keyword that I always use is I'm dependable. You know, especially when you get to the hiring manager level. If you have the confidence to tell someone, look, I'm dependable and I can work independently, meaning if you give me a task and I break it down like that, I'm very granular like that. I always tell managers, if you give me a task, you could go to sleep and be rest assured that task will be completed. I always bet on myself to be able to deliver. You know, I deliver on project. So that has always helped me. Sometimes it sounds cocky. It sounds like you're full of yourself. But remember, you have to project confidence. If you don't project confidence, people would assume that you're weak. So you have to project that confidence. Look, I'm very dependable. If there's a meeting, I will show up. You know, if you give me a task, I can complete it. I can work independently. Managers like to hear things like that. So I'd leave the floor for someone else, but those 2 things are important. Wrap up the story about yourself. First, develop a story and wrap it up all within 90 seconds. And then when you ask questions, keywords, dependable. People like to hear that. Like, I'm very task-oriented and I can work independently. I think those 2 things are important.
Thank you, Vincent. And what about why do you want to work for us? So you're still going to go with dependable. Why should we choose you over everybody else? Still,
Well, I
similar
always
story.
tell
Go
people,
ahead.
like, when I get that question, my key thing is I read the job description and I thought I was a good fit for it. I read the job description. It matches everything that I do now. Remember, you're interviewing, you have to have taken keywords from their job description. You have to see the tools that they've mentioned and tell them, oh, if you see a job where they've talked about you're running vulnerability scans, just tell them, I run scans with Nexus at my old job, at my current job. This is what I do. I use this tool. This is what this tool does. This is how we use it. So you have to be able to tell them that you know what you're doing, meaning when they bring you on board, they're not spending a long time training you. And at the end of the day, you also have to be able to prove that even if you're not using the tools directly, some people use CyberArk, some people use Azure. They all do the same thing at the end of the day. They're all IAM tools. Some people use Qualys, some people use Nexus. It's all the same thing. You're scanning for vulnerabilities. So you have to be able to tell them that, look, I read your job description, the skills you're requiring, I possess those skills. That's why I think I'm a good fit for this job. That's what I always go with. Someone else might have a different approach, but I go with that.
All right. Thank you, Vincent. So we'll go with Derek and then Joel. Derek, why should we hire you over other candidates? Tell us about yourself and why do you think you're a good fit for this job? How did you answer those questions?
Can I interject with a question, please, to the last speaker, please?
Yes, kindly go ahead before we let Derek come in.
My question is, sir, the last speaker, what about if you have not done that before? What do you answer? What would be a response?
Well, have you heard politicians talk? If they ask you if you've done it before, you just can't. Look, sometimes when you've been boxed into a corner, it's okay to say, oh, I don't know that, or I've never used that before. It's okay to admit that. So managers would actually give you a chance because you've admitted that, okay, while I know a lot of things, I'm human enough to admit that I don't know everything. So it depends how the interview is going. There are things that you just haven't used before, and you have to be upfront about that. Oh, I've not used that before. But you should have an alternative to say, but in its place, this is what I use. Remember, there are a variety of tools. It's the same thing. Like some people use Gmail, some people use Yahoo Mail, some people use Hotmail. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they all do the same thing, right? You have an inbox where your email comes in, and you have an outbox that you can use to send emails right out. So that's what I do. One, you have to have read the job description. If there's a tool that you're not familiar with, you have to have go watch YouTube videos. Do you understand? Go install Nexus on your computer and just see the basics of it. See how it works. If there's something you've not done, remember you have to prepare for an interview. If not, you're going to flunk it. If there's something you've not done before, invest in the time to actually go take a look at it so that when you're talking, you don't sound like you're a complete stranger to that tool. Like you don't even have an idea about it. Except they box you into a corner and they just bring something that you've never heard before that was not listed on the job description. That's always a win. When you've gone and you've watched videos and you know the basic things, people mention ChatGPT, that can help you too. All these tools can help you too. But if you've not done it before, it's okay to admit that you've not done it before, but do some research about the tool too.
Thank you, Vincent. And to add to that, I wanted us to jump to Derek, but to add to that, like Vincent said, you are going for a job interview. As part of the skill sets that they are looking for in security. And when you go to the job interview, when they ask you 10 questions, there are additional 10 questions that they didn't ask you, but they picked answers from the ones that they asked, right? So if you come to my interview and on the job description, we listed 5 tools and we ask you about, hey, what is your experience using Splunk? And you're like, I've never used Splunk, so I don't know anything about Splunk. That really shows you are unprepared and you didn't come in prepared. You don't have to be a master of Splunk. You saw Splunk on there. You didn't know Splunk. What did you do about it? You should have, like Vincent said, go look it up. If you have to install a free version, try your hands on it. So when they ask you about Splunk, you can speak intelligently about it and tell them, hey, I know, my way around it, but I'm no expert at Splunk. You see what I mean? They ask you about a framework. You saw HIPAA, Nexus, PCI on the job description. And they ask you, what do you know about PCI? Well, I've not really heard about PCI, or I don't. Are you kidding me? It was on the job description. And how long ago did they say they were going to have this interview? And how did you prepare? It just shows you are somebody who is not a go-getter. You wait for them to tell you something before you go do
something.
Yes. So if you are somebody who is always ahead of the curve, because I remember when I was a baby officer in the army, I was brand new lieutenant. That was what was making me kick the ass of the, captains and like the higher ups. We are in a meeting when they say something, I've never heard of it before. Hey, maybe, like Lieutenant Edu might look into this. I jot it down. In our next meeting in the afternoon, oh man, I'm all on fire on it. I know more than that, more than anybody on the table. They're like, well, how did you know? Now, yeah, I did my research. So they know you are somebody who is a go-getter. So now you've established that trust. So if you go to an interview and you don't know anything on the job description, I just think you're a moron and you are lazy. Because for the interview, don't wing it. If you are unprepared, then don't waste your time and even go to the interview. If you are taking it like, I'm just going to try, and then don't just go. You have to be 120% ready. Because if you think you're half ready and you know some of the stuff on it and you don't know, don't waste your time. And then go back and say, yeah, I don't think they are employing in the security space. And because of my surname, it's because I don't have a degree. You just make excuses for yourself. If you go in well prepared and you know every single thing inside out on the job description, then if they throw you something outside the job description, like Vincent said, you cannot know everything. So if it's something that they just came up with, oh no, for that I don't really know anything about it. But they know that you did so well on other parts of it, right? So that is just to add to what Vincent said. So Derek, kindly go ahead. Why should we employ you? Tell us about yourself. Why are you better than other people who are applying for this job?
Dr.
How did you answer questions like that?
Can I say something quick?
Yes, Jeff. So go and then we will let Derek come in.
Yeah, I just want to add something to what Vincent said and what you said about the job description and getting prepared for the job. It start with applying for the job. When you see the job description, I used to make this mistake. I use the same old resume and apply for every job. But you can tweak your resume to fit the job requirement that is being posted or you are applying for. So you have to pick something from what they are asking and then fit it in your resume so that when they ask you what do you think we are a good fit, you already have everything they are asking in your resume. And as you said, you talk about it, and as you said, you prepare and then also learn about it. So right from that, before even applying for the job, check the job description and put some of the requirement in your resume. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I let Eric go, Derek, kindly go, and then we'll let Joel, and then we will let more speakers come in. So Derek, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. I think, Doctor, you mentioned about how, I think you were trying to let me speak about who the friend that helped me to get.
Tell me about yourself.
No, before this, you were asking me how.
Oh yeah. So how you landed your,
Yeah,
I mean, how
yes.
you got notice of that.
Right.
Role.
First and foremost, I would like to thank my friend, my brother, Samuel Boache. I know he's on the line. We work together like Joe, and then Felix. We work together here and there. Samuel was the one who saw the job before. He did apply, and he went for the interview. But unfortunately for him, the job was in Denver, and they closed the position that they were looking for. And later on, he found out that there's an opening in New York. So he sent me the link. He was like, bro, listen, they are hiring in New York. This company, just apply it. I was like, bro, send it to me. And I look at the title and I told him, brother, this title is too high for me, man. And the money is too much. I don't think I can be able to get this job. He was like, man, try your luck. Try your luck. You know, he keep on pushing. So that he keep on pushing. Yeah, keep on pushing. Just do it, man. Apply it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me do it. If I don't do it next time, if you find something, he's not gonna give it to me. So I did apply it, And as I said earlier on, sometimes I stay up to like 3 a.m. So I was still putting, a lot of jobs in there. Once they sent me the invitation for the interview, I wasn't sure even that was him, the job that he gave it to me. So I had a first interview and I was gonna have the second interview. Just about 10 minutes before the interview, he called me. He was like, Derek, yo, have you heard from this company? I said, yeah, I'm gonna have a second interview with them. He was like, man, I just called the HR and he mentioned your name. And that tells me that they are talking to you as well. I said, yeah. And I was like, bro, I didn't know you were the one who gave me the job. He was like, yeah, that was the job that I gave it to you way back. I was like, oh, okay. So how was the interview? He was like, man, there's going to be two people. This and that and that and that. They're going to ask you this question. So just stay tight on that. And it's basic. It's not an audit interview. It's third party. And I know you can handle it. You good on third party. I'm saying, okay, cool. And trust me, that gave me more, give me like, it gave me like I'm ready to fight the ball. And it was the two Indians. You know how the Indians, they always ask technical questions, and I was scared before. So, oh my goodness. But since he told me it was just a third party, I had the courage that I can do it. And I was able to, knock it down very easy. And the hiring manager and my co-worker who I'm gonna work with him, they were so impressed about me. They were like, you know what, we're gonna speak to the HR to schedule you for the third interview with the compliance director. To cut it off, or not to continue too much about it, what I want to share with all my family members up here is you have to have a connection with people here. You have to get somebody or 2 or 3 people that you guys can communicate here and there, share jobs together, share ideas together, and trust me, this will land you a job very easy. That's about it. The question that, Doctor, you asked me about, tell me about yourself. Usually, I always tell myself that you don't, or tell everybody, my friends, like Samuel, Joel, I always tell them, look, bro, you don't have to go and narrate the whole story where you went to school in Ghana, blah, 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 blah. Just be brief, who you are, the certification you got, what you're doing currently, and what you can contribute to help them. That is all that they need from you. So I usually tell them who I am and what I can do to help them to achieve their goals and that position that they're looking for. And I also gave them, extensive of my I narrate a lot of my my experience about what I've been doing from my previous job to the second job to whatever I have right now, and let them know that I believe myself that I can do the job without having any issue. And that's what I usually do. I don't take more than 2 minutes, or 2 minutes is too long to explain myself on tell me about yourself. And I just ask them that I'm going to leave the floor for them because I know they have more questions for me. Always just be brief, your name, who you are, what you are doing currently or what you have done currently, just a brief. And then let them know how you can contribute to help them to achieve whatever they are doing. And that helps you to, resolve certain things. You can also give them a few examples of what you have done before, by reviewing SOC report, and that's what you're looking into, by reviewing pen test, what is what you're looking for, policies, whatever you are doing, just give them a brief. Don't go too much, because if you go too much, you're gonna take too much time. You have just about 30 minutes to finish all the necessary questions that they want to ask you. So I always just go brief and tell them what I can do to help them. That's it. And
all right, Derek, so yes, go to the other ones.
The other one,
why did you hire you
why
over
they should
others?
hire me is I always tell them that based on my experience that I've acquired from what I've been doing, I believe myself based on their job description and what I've been doing, which is not as far from what they are looking for. I believe that I can easily do it without, need any help from anywhere or anyone. to make sure all the tasks that they are going to assign to me, I can get it done as soon as they want me to get it done. So I usually just tell them what I can do to help them. That based on my experience, I think I can do this. Based on my experience of this, I think this is not a problem. Based on that, I believe myself that if they hire me, I'm going to be a great asset to their company. And that is all that I keep on telling them. You don't want to go too much, because the more you are trying to tell them too much, you're going to complicate yourself and get yourself into trouble, and more questions will come from whatever you said. Just brief and then leave it like that. If they have any further question, they will ask you, but tell them something that they want to see how you can contribute to their goals, to achieve their goals. That's all they want to know. So you want to make sure that you tell them what you can do. And once they know that this is what they are expecting you to do, you can do for them, they will move you to the whatever state that they have to move you to.
Okay, thank you, Derek. So we move to Joel, and then we will open the floor up. Joel, please go ahead. Tell me about yourself. One, why should we hire you over everybody else who is applying? And I think like that was, so all three kind of, followed it, like the same trend. So kindly go ahead. Tell me about yourself and why should we hire you over anybody else? And, why are you a good fit for this job? How did you answer those questions?
I think Derek and Vincent have shared a good light on. I mean, tell me about yourself. Like they said, you need to be very brief and not go and talk too much, because the more you say certain things, a lot of questions are gonna come out of it. And so for me, I do keep it very simple. Throw light on my experience, because look, they have your resume in front of them already. So they are not looking for you to go, bullet point by bullet, like, everything that you've done. So usually I kind of summarize everything on my resume and put everything together in like a paragraph, and just I have it over like in my head, and I just say to them, and it at times it sits very well with them, because you've saved them the time by going from if you have about 4 different or 5 different jobs on your resume, they don't have time to sit there listen to you talking to them about each and every one of them. So at times I just keep them very simple. Now when it comes to the point where they ask you why do we hire you over other candidates, I believe this question should be answered in a way where they are looking for some, like, your experience. They are looking for skills. They are looking for, achievements and results. They are looking for, a lot of things. So you answer it in a way for them to know, first of all, like, you have the potential to add value to the company. You have to convey how you will make a meaningful impact on the team and, the organization from day one. You have to discuss your readiness, to contribute immediately to any ongoing projects or initiatives. You have to let them know you are a motivated person. You show genuine enthusiasm for the role and the company. You discuss why you are particularly motivated to work for this company, certain things that excites you about the company. And you also, at times, you can throw in something about the cultural fit. Explain how your values, your work ethic, and approach to teamwork, let's say, align with the company's culture. You have to mention any alignment that you have in connection with the company's organizational goal, or let's say mission. Most of the time, like, you touch on your relevant experience. That is, you don't really speak to everything that is on your resume, but the experience you have on your resume, which is very relevant to the job responsibilities you are going to do, you just have it on there. You throw in your skills and expertise. So I kind of blend all these things when I'm answering the question about why should we hire you, why are you a good fit for the company. I don't think they are just looking for you to talk like a long, they just need you to convince them. And being able to convince them, there are certain things that they want to hear from you. Your resume is there already. They think you're a good fit. That is why they gave you the interview. But you also need to speak up and convince them, let them know that I can add value to the company or the team. I am this, I'm motivated. You have to talk about some of the achievements and the results you have in the past that, is in alignment with whatever project they are working on. So this is how at times I answer these questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So whilst I'm going to allow Brian to speak, I think some folks in here, they are in the chat. I think Abel and Joe, they wanted like an example. So for example, for Joel, for your company interview that you just scaled, all three levels, if Vincent, Joel, and then also Derek, if you can give us like the exact answer that you gave. So tell me about yourself. I'm Derek. I'm a security professional with over 4 years, 2 years of experience. These are, my skill sets or projects that I've worked on. So if you can give us exactly what you said, roughly, if you can recollect everything, just something, and then also for everybody in here who want exact examples, reason why they are describing how they answered the questions rather than giving you the exact answer is you have to know how to answer it, not to be, just spoon-fed with an answer that you're going to, because I can give you the answer, but to the job that you're applying to and that you're going to have an interview with, my answer might not necessarily be relevant to what you're going to, if you copy just mine and you just change your name and change my name and put your name in there, you are going to be way off. But if I show you how to answer it, you can put your own, questions, like you can put your own answers together, right? So that is why they describe how they answer the questions. They describe, things that they put together to come up with the answers. So I think we should look at it from that perspective, because for every single job, tell me about yourself. It is going to be, it follows the same format, but what you put in there is going to be different, right? Because what you are looking for every single job is different. So obviously your name is not going to change. Your skill sets, what you've done, it should be relevant to what you're looking for. So if, let's say, for instance, you went through the internship, GRC internship, you worked on, you did an audit with different frameworks, you did gap analysis, you worked on policies, you worked on incident response, you worked on third party. Now, if this job is a third party role, tell me about yourself. You are not going to talk about your skill sets in auditing, in governance, making policies, because really, if that is not on the job description, it is irrelevant. So if Derek talked about that in his job that he got now, and you're just going to take that and use that, then you are going to be way off, right? So them describing how they answered it, that gives you the template for you to fill in the blanks, right? But still, I'll let them give an example each, or maybe one or two of them can volunteer to give, and this is how I answered it. So just go straight into it. So, but before they do, as they prep for that, I'll let Brian go, and then I'll let Francis also go. So Brian, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, just wanted to add, when you talk about the question, so tell me about yourself, there is an excellent framework that I learned about that a lot of people on here can use. Pretty much you're thinking about the past, the present, and the future, and you add your story in there. So what I mean by that is when you're talking about your past, it's almost like you're telling how did you start off in that area, like let's just say third party risk management, as you have said. And then the present, what are you doing now at your job in third party risk management? And then for your future, while you're in front of the person that's interviewing you, you're saying, well, the reason I'm here today because I've seen a great opportunity to further my career in third party risk management. So you're just looking at the past, present, and future, and it's an easy framework to put your story to it. And then once you get your story together, you can just go in that line and keep it short, but it gives them an idea of where you started, what you're doing now, and where you want to go, pretty much. As it comes to the question on, so why should we hire you? Another great thing that I learned is that if you have the description of the things that they want from this job, you can start off by saying, from what I understand, you're looking for someone that knows how to do risk assessments. And at my last company, when we were doing risk assessments, I was able to save the company 30% on their production. I'm just paraphrasing, but I'm just giving an example of if they have 10 things on their description, take maybe 3 or 5 and just start off with the phrase, from what I understand, you're looking for somebody can do this. And then after that, let them know what you've done at your past company or your company now. So I just wanted to let people know on those type of frameworks they can use as well.
Thank you, Brian. So great input. And like I said, we have a lot of resources on here. Brian also has walked the walk. He's a security professional doing data privacy, gig. Went through the GRC internship as well, right? So Brian, they are all here to help. So kindly make use of them. And that is why we do this. So for Francis, please go ahead. And I think somebody else had their hand up before Derek went. Yes, go ahead,
so
Francis.
I want to know, like you were saying, if you when you're explaining yourself, like telling them much more about what you can do, you tell them about your experience and it follows. What about somebody who is having a zero experience, who just came out of maybe the internship or something? How should you start it? Or how should you give them your experience before you add up things, the values that you can add to the company, or how you can help them achieve their goals? Thank you.
So if you came out of the GRC internship, you don't have zero experience. You have a lot of projects under your belt. That's somebody who's been working in the security space and getting paid for the past 5 years, don't even have. So for people who are doing, their own thing outside Eretmis, who don't have any projects under their belt, they are the ones who should be more concerned about this, right? Because the experience that you're going to speak to, they are the projects that you work on, and you have a company that you worked on these projects for. So your current company is that company. So if they are looking for somebody who, if this is a third-party gig, you done a whole project on third party, by going through conducting a third party assessment. So you know how the process goes, things that you look out for, and you can do it and talk your way through it, right? So if that is what they are looking for on the job description, you speak to that. Let them know, hey, I've done projects in this space. I'm very proficient in this space, so I can help your company, right, when it comes to third party. And these are the other skill sets that I'm bringing to the table.
Okay, right. So, Doctor, what about like also being specifics of like, oh, maybe, okay, I've been in this, like, I know we did the GRC, but you can use that couple duration. So how do you, can you, I may not use the word lie, but can you just try to frame something and tell them a very good amount of years experience, maybe 1.5 or 2 years experience of doing this, because you can do it, you can perform it, you've already done this project, you have access to it, you can learn and go to the interview, and even on the job, you can still perform. Can you frame it well and just present to them?
Okay, so like when they talk about experience, they are looking for projects that you've done really in line with what they are looking for. You don't have to have done it for 20 years. You don't have to have done it for 3 years before you can say you are proficient in it. You should know how to do it, and you should be able to do it now when they put it in front of you. So if you've done it twice, once, and you know you can do it, you can speak to it, that is it, right? Now, if you are in an interview, right, or applying for a job, like I said, you put your best foot forward. So if maybe I'm going against Kurt has maybe 300 years in cybersecurity. My skill sets, my soft skills and technical skills put together, I can rate myself maybe probably 3 years. So if I'm going against Kurt and I go speaking about years, I'm shooting myself in the foot. So I'll be quiet on years, but I'll speak to what I can do. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, very clear.
You showcase your strengths, you minimize your weakness.
Okay.
Right. So if you are coming in from the health field into cybersecurity, you're not going to tell them I've been a nurse for 20 years and I just started cybersecurity 2 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, they shouldn't judge you on that. But like Vincent said, they have so many options, and we all judge based on what we see and what we hear without even trying out, the person. So
Okay.
you don't want to put anything that will sound like a weakness
Your
out
weakness.
there to cloud the judgment of whoever is going to decide.
Yeah.
Because probably you can, I mean, somebody just, learn how to drive 6 months ago. That person might be a better driver than somebody who's been driving for 5 years.
Exactly. Yes.
But if you come in and you tell them, I started driving like 6 months ago. Somebody comes in, I've been driving for 20 years. But, when you sit in somebody who's been driving for 20 years car, you are holding on to everything in the car. You're holding on to their life because they can't drive to save their life. They've just had the license and they've been driving here and there. They just had it for the longest. But that doesn't mean they are better than you. So during an interview, you're not going to speak to years, but you speak to what you've done and the skill sets you bring into the table. Right. So you maximize your strengths, you minimize your weaknesses. Right.
Okay.
So
So
you don't have to lie about anything. Projects that you
on
worked on, that is what you talk about.
okay, and on your resume, because you have to put these things on your resume, maybe yes, or on your resume you take that one also out and just list your projects, because on your resume, how do you go about that?
No, so I think for you, we've talked about this a couple of times during job placement for when you finish your internship. When we talk about your years of experience in cybersecurity, we are not only looking at you working in security for 10 years or 20 years. We are not looking at just your technical skills. We are looking at your technical and soft skills combined. That is your total number of years of experience. If maybe probably Dr. Edu is BSN, check every cybersecurity job description out there. You are going to see skill sets for the technical side. And then right after that, you see sometimes even the soft skills is more than the technical stuff they are looking for.
Wow.
So
Thank you.
if you think, okay, I'm jumping from being a manager at Walmart for 20 years, I'm jumping into cybersecurity. I have 0 years of experience. And you're applying to a cybersecurity job that is maybe a GRC manager role. Aside the technical cybersecurity stuff you're going to do there, what else are you going to do? Managerial role. You have 20 years of managerial skill sets, and you are going to count all that out because you're not working in the cybersecurity space.
No.
So everybody sees where I'm going at with this. All right. So Francis, we're going to give the floor to others. Olufemi, please go ahead. You are.
All right, sir. Thank you, Doctor. Hello, everyone. This is the first time I'm talking in this webinar, in a webinar like this, but I can bet that I've followed Dr. Adru for as long as I can remember. Because I watch his webinars, I watch his trainings on YouTube. And if I open my books now, I think I have about 4 different books here that I've jotted information and they're really full. Now, what I want to say is this. Thank you, Doctor. Now, this is my point. Information security, IT is a subject that is full of so many information. For instance, I went through the RMF. I did the risk assessment, vulnerability management, the GRC, PCI, and several other areas in the cybersecurity. I was able to navigate through the Nexus scanner. I was able to navigate through the STIG and SCARP and all these things. But what I want to say, particularly in connection with what we are discussing today, is this. When you see an advertisement, there's an advertisement for a particular job, and you feel that you want to apply for that job, you have the duty to go into the job description of that job, and then, with the foreknowledge you have about some of these things, you now go into particular learnings and research about those job security. It's not going to be new to you because naturally you've seen things like that, you've known things like that. And if there's anything there that is new, you have the time to speak with one or two other people to put you through so that at least you'll be able to present yourself in the presence of the interviewer, not as a novice. And one thing I discovered, according to those people who have spoken, is that when they ask you questions, don't answer questions you are not asked. And don't talk too much, because when you talk too much or you answer, you delve into areas that they will listen to you, but at the point that you are landing on that area, they'll pick you up on the area, and you may not be skillful enough to answer questions from that area. So one thing I learned over time now is that when they ask you questions, just go straight to the question and give a robust answer to that question, depending on how much you are able to research that job and those subjects before you go for the interview. And one last thing I want to say is that you have to know how you have to have your choice of words. Your choice of words, the terminologies, you have to be convincing in your approach to the interview, such that even if you don't know everything, they will know that, oh, this guy, he has the enthusiasm. If we hire this guy, he's not going to take it as easily as others. He's going to approach it with some vigors that we know that he will achieve. So those are the little points I'm able to write out in this, and I'm still learning. I'm still going to talk to doctor. I'm going to join. I'm traveling, but when I come back, I'm going to join the internship class again, because I believe that I have to get myself completely prepared. I don't want to be half-baked before I even attempt any interview. I've been doing some mock interviews though, but that is just my little submission. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for your meaningful contribution, Olufemi.
Yes, sir.
Kelvin, please go. Go ahead, Kelvin. You are muted if you're trying to speak, please. And whilst Kelvin is trying to get ready, Vincent will help us, give us one specifics in terms of what we're asking. Tell me about yourself. So Vincent will give us that, and then we'll jump into other questions real quick and give the floor back to everybody else. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Yes, Doc. Everything that we're talking about here, I've been following, and this is my first time on this webinar. And yes, Vincent spoke very well. Francis kind of read my mind, or what I had question to ask about, but the thing is that, yes, we're talking about how to answer questions and get the job and everything. But there was a statement that you made that I didn't quite understand. I believe I heard you. If I heard you right, you said something like, if somebody has been through the internship and through the workshop from through Eretmis, that he or she should be able, to handle the job of whatever job that comes to them, that is, whatever, part of cybersecurity job that they are looking to, that they should be able to nail it, not just nail the job, but be able to perform the duties of the job that is needed in the job description. Now, my question is, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Okay.
Like, are you trying to say that Eretmis is equivalent or is akin to real life experience on the job? Because if that is the case, yes, I would like more explanation, because the thing is that when you look at some of these jobs on cybersecurity and even IT, it's not really about where you have been workshop, where you have been through in internship or whatever. Most of the jobs are looking for 5 years experience, 6 years, 7 years experience. It's not even about how you answer the question.
Kevin. Kevin.
Yes.
Doctor, let me help you up here. Please. Kevin, what the internship, right? Basically, through my interviews that I've gone through, I use the experience of the internship to explain myself to the recruiter, the hiring manager, whoever that I speak to. The experience that I acquired from the internship is what I use to, do my interviews. So basically, it's not like you went for the interview for 3 months. Therefore, you cannot use that internship knowledge for your resume for maybe 4 years or 5 years, because you put your hands on, you did a job as you are working in an environment where you have been hired and get paid for. You understand? So based on what you have acquired from the internship is the experience, the job exposure that you have acquired from the internship is where you are going to use to speak for your job or for your interview that you are going through. So you can't limit yourself for whatever days or months that you spend on there on your resume, but you are going to use whatever days and months that you spend on there to the certain years that you want to put it up there that you can speak for. As we said, you cannot prepare your resume anyhow or anything and just go there and then be ready that you are going for the interview. You have to know your resume. It's just like you have your own car. If you don't know how to drive, you can't just go and get a key and then sit in the car that I'm going to drive. What's going to happen? You're going to get an accident.
Right.
So you have to know what you're doing before you get yourself into the interview. You have to be confident before you put a key on the steer and start driving, because people get nervous when they get on the steer. It's the same thing like when you're on an interview. You have to be bold enough. You have to know that you know what you have acquired from the internship and you can speak to that. And that will land you a job very easy, because like Dr. Du was saying, look, I learned certain things from the internship that I was like, oh wow, so this is how this is something very simple, but I was going through like a hardship that I thought is something that I'm gonna die on that, but it was easy for me to understand it, and it was easy for me to apply it on my interviews and convince them to let them know that I know what I'm talking about. I know what I can contribute to help them to meaningfully to achieve their goals.
Yeah, but
Based
after the process of
Doctor, can I chime in real quick? Let me just help Kelvin.
Okay.
Kelvin, real quick. Look, this is not, I'll be honest with you. This is not a marketing class. We're not here to sell you any product. I don't do that. And Doctor, I know him. He's not soliciting. What we're telling you is nobody is not guaranteeing you a job. Don't get that mixed up at all. But what we're telling you, and what everyone who has come on here to tell you, is that if you go through the class and you devote yourself to the process, the knowledge you come out with, even though it doesn't guarantee you a job, Dr. Joe has never told anyone, if you finish this class, you'll get a job tomorrow. Don't get that twisted. There's a part you're responsible for, and that's the work. He won't go apply for a job for you. You have to do it. But what we're telling you is that the resources you have and the tools you're exposed to, it's enough to help you find a job, even if you don't pay for any of those classes. And I'm telling you, as someone who has gone through this process you're trying to go through, even if you don't pay for any of those classes, if on your own, you just go watch the free videos and you learn how to use some of those tools, when you go for an interview, you're confident. Dr. Du, I'll just make this last point to answer the question you had asked me earlier. My manager and I are pretty close now. So one day we got talking. We had gone to dinner somewhere. And I asked him, and I'm like, Jared, why did you even hire me after that interview? There were two of them. And he said, when we finished that interview and we got into the car, I told Stephanie, that was the other person. It was like, we got to hire that guy. And she was like, why? It was like, if he could do half of the things he told us he can do, then we found a champion. And I'm telling you word for word what he said. This is America. You've got to talk a big game. But when you talk a big game, you have to be able to back it up. When I was looking for a job, Dr. Adu can bear me witness. I used to say it in the class. When I was looking for a job and I really, really wanted to get it, Remember, I had another job, and after that, I'll come back. I didn't know anything about Nexus, but I wired my house. I said, like, do your own studio, do like a workstation of your own. And I set up Nexus. And all the computers in my house, I'll connect and run scans from them and generate the report. And I was sharing that with my friends. And I didn't know anything about it, even though I didn't want to do. When we were doing the PCI class, Dr. Adu was giving us real life assignments, and you will go do it. What we're saying is when you go through, this is a class, when you go through all that process, your confidence, he didn't pay me a penny to be here. And I know 5 other people who have gotten a job through the same thing. Have you go watch Michael's video? Michael was a nurse. Go watch Kingsley's video. He was working, he was a prison warder. These people who were the people who work for the people in jail, I don't know what they're called. But the point I'm making is, look, no one is going to spoon feed you through this process. You go through a class. You can do the free one. No one is asking you to enroll and pay whatever amount it is. Do the free one, but commit yourself to the process of learning. So when you go for an interview, through what you've learned and through what you've heard every other person say, this is not a Ponzi scheme where if you bring someone, you get, no. This is, we're telling you, put in the work, you would land a job. And I'm telling you, this has worked for me. It has worked for like 10 other people that I know in this meeting. This thing works. That's all I have to say.
Enough said. Is this Derek? And enough said. I mean,
No,
I was just trying.
No,
Vincent.
that's Vincent.
Okay, Vincent. Sorry, I was only trying to.
Trying to learn more. Okay,
yes,
so
yes,
let me
because
also chime in here, real quick, Kelvin. So
yeah.
this is the process behind the internship that we do, right?
Right,
The projects, we work on 10 projects, and these projects are for real world companies. And like you are doing this, these are projects that they need. So like risk assessment, they need to do that quarterly. Their policy review, they need to do that quarterly. So you are going through and doing that. So you have that experience of doing it, right?
Right.
Now, the projects that we work on, what most of you don't know, even for those who've gone through the whole entire program, the 8 weeks that you are using to work on these 10 projects, if you were to do these 10 projects, like how we drag it out when you are doing it on the job, if you are doing an audit, an audit takes you anywhere from 3 to 6 months. But in the internship, we do it in 2 weeks.
Right.
You are doing third-party assessment on the job, you can drag it out. It can take 3 months, sometimes 6 months, and it's an ongoing process. In the internship, we do it in 2 weeks.
Right.
Right. So in the internship, we are in a stress. We create a stress, like situation for you. So you are working against time. You are doing more than you should be doing. Right. Now, when we talk about the years of experience, like I said earlier, no job is only looking for technical years of experience. It's a combination of your technical and non-technical years of experience.
Yes.
They care less if you are the best technical cybersecurity person on the world, like in the world. If you can't work with people, you don't have soft skills, nobody will hire you. Like Vincent was saying, you have to be likable. If you are the person who just wants to work by themselves, they don't want to deal with people, you can't work in security. Nobody will hire you, right? So your skill sets, soft skills coming from any other profession that you've been in, all that together with what you've done in the internship, which if we spread it out, is even more than, 2, 3, 4 years, right? So a combination of it is what you are going to be using, right? So you are not going to be, it's not a classroom that, aside going through the course, if you are totally new, the course and then the internship is where you're actually working on real world projects. And those projects you work on, they go on your resume. The companies go on your resume as well.
Yeah,
right?
Doc, I think you answered, you responded very well. And I think I've gotten all the information that I wanted. Because what I was looking for is what I was looking for is not about passing an interview, going through an interview and satisfying whoever is interviewing me, but is having the experience. Like when I was in the early 2000s, when I was doing Cisco routers, when you get into like Cisco and all that, all they do, the interview most part is, this is a router and you ask to configure it. You understand? So it's not about how you answer a question about whether the way you speak or how short you are on your answers or straight to the point that you are about your answer. No, it's not about your responses in an interview. It's all about nobody would even talk to you too much. It's all about, you have a router in front of you to configure. Okay. So I'm trying to make sure that what is in the internship,
is what you are going to be doing on the job.
There
and
you
I think
go,
Felix,
in the real world.
Yes, we did. I think Felix, I'm not sure if Felix is here, but Felix, his job, he just finished the internship. The job he's doing now, exactly the same thing that he was doing, is like like the internship has been extended for him on his job.
Yeah.
Right.
No, thank you very much. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
Yeah. So what we do, what will be the sense in, spoon feeding you and getting you the interview and getting the job, and now you are crying on the job because you can't do it? So our goal is focused on what are you going to do on the job. We are more concerned about that than, passing a certification.
That's right. Right.
Or passing, and you can pass an interview all you want. Derek passed his first interview by himself. How well did he do on the job? Right. So for him, he can speak to what you are saying. He came back, went the right way. He has a job already. Now on the job, it's going to be easy peasy. He can have his peace of mind, and there are a lot of people on here who can attest to that. People who took the sidelines and got a job, and now they're living heart attack because you are going to work and you are, like nobody's chasing you, but you are just running for your life. On the work you're always on the edge, right? So that is, we don't want you to have that. And there is nobody who's gone through the internship who has gotten a job and will call us, hey, Doc, how do you do this? How do I do this? Nobody, I'm telling you. So for folks who even call back, is just a decision. Hey, I'm going left or right. You think right? I think right is right on this situation. And 90% of the time they are right. So just that note for them to go. So for everything that we are doing, our main focus is what you are going to do on the job. Right. And you can work, peacefully and contribute meaningfully.
Awesome.
Because you can BS your way and get a job all day. If you can't do it, they're going to fire you. So,
there you go. Yeah. That's all.
And then also, reason why we do this, what we are doing now, is knowing how to do the job is one thing. Knowing how to convince somebody you can do the job is another thing. Right. So we do this to let you, from people who've actually done it, hey, this is how I went about it. This is how I went. These are some of the tips and tricks, like the one Brian was giving. Okay, use this framework to answer it. It's going to, because interviewing is a whole, ball game on its own. So you can know your stuff, you can do the job. But how do you convince Dr. Edu you can do the job if you cannot speak to it? You're not speaking the cybersecurity language, right? I'm asking about project that you've done, and you can't name or list any of these projects, and the ones you're talking about is not relevant to what we are looking for, right? So we want to give you that orientation. That way, okay, if I'm answering, they're asking me, tell me about yourself. They want to know about me in relation to what they are looking for, not just about myself, right? So that is why we are doing this. So it's, you have to move from step 1 to step 2. Now, this is also a very important aspect of how you'll be able to get into the security space, right? So with that, we'll move into Marcus, and then Pfizer can go, and we will get back to our panel members.
Yes, Doc. Good evening to everybody. And I'm so blessed to join the team tonight because it's my first time of joining this webinar, and I'm so excited and happy on this. My question concerning about the working experience, everybody has been asking, and I've seen Calvin have been dragging a lot of questions on that. And my main issue is I saw some comment that the bottom line here is internship give you equivalent of 5 years experience. And it had drawn my attention to, I know sometimes you because we are not in the field, you hear, oh, with ID, sometimes they go extra mile to dig your past experience where you have been working with, the experience with the company, they'll go ahead and find out. So I'm asking, if I do this internship for maybe like 8 weeks, or let's say 10 months, 10 weeks, can I still spread that internship as maybe 3 years on that company? And is it going to affect me because on my resume, I've stated that maybe I've worked in this company for 3 years. Meanwhile, I did internship for maybe 10 weeks. Is it going to affect me, or are they going to look back and find out if it's a lie or something like that? Because I'm a bit confused over there. Thank you.
Okay. So Marcus, I'm yet to look into what is on there, but we are not saying once you're done with the internship, you have automatic 5 years of experience in cybersecurity. That is not what we are saying. Your number of years of experience will depend on what job you're applying to, right? If you are looking for a job that is maybe, let's say, 60% heavy in terms of skills on soft skills, managerial leadership roles, and those are roles that you've held for maybe 10 years elsewhere, and you'd need maybe the icing on the cake, you need maybe probably 20%, 30% of technical security skills. And they are looking for 5 years of experience, and you have 10 years of managerial leadership, 60% of what you're looking for. Yes, you can confidently say, yes, I have that 5 years of experience, because when it comes to the soft skills, you can defend it. When it comes to the technical cybersecurity stuff, the things that you're going to do in the internship, if we spread it out, is even, that will extend past even 2 years, right? So in that, and also for whatever you are doing now, when we restructure your resume, right, we bring out what is relevant to the job description you're applying to. So if you're a nurse and you are in a lead role, you are doing a lot of leadership and managerial roles. If you are looking for a cybersecurity role that is heavy leadership managerial role, we bring out that, the role, everything that you're doing in that side. We are not going to put your technical nursing stuff on there because it's irrelevant to the job you're applying to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when it comes to the job placement aspect of it, this we do one-on-one. Look at you as a whole. Okay, what have you done? What are you bringing to the table? This is what we gave you in terms of the technical skills, in terms of knowledge and skill. What are you bringing yourself? Then we can package you and say, okay, yes, we can put you at this point or at that point. So it's not, if you just go through internship, automatically you have 5 years of experience. And then also everything that you put on your resume, you don't lie about it. Because if they have to check and go back, so if you do the internship, they reach back, hey, did this person work on this project? Did he work for your company, or did he work for this sister company? We verify. Yes, of course you did. You did projects for it. Now, for your other roles, you put the companies that you work for, and we help you restructure it, and things that you did, you are going to work out, okay, I did this, I did this. Some people, they are even doing a lot of cybersecurity things that they don't know are cybersecurity related in their roles. We bring all that out. So if they reach out, hey, and they contact your previous company, you did work there. So, right. So we tell you, you are not going to put, unlike other places where they just put things that you've not done on there. Because if you are lying on your resume, your confidence level is even low yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you know everything on your resume, you can defend. You are very confident during interviews. And that is another twist to this. So people who are just copying and pasting other people's resume and using it without knowing what half of the things on there, like they are the ones who find themselves in issues and problems. But for everybody who go through this, unless, of course, you don't reach out for any help or assistance if you are a student and you just want to do your own thing, right? Like one student did that one time, put companies he never worked for on there, and then he reached out, hey, Dr. Edu, they want to verify with this company and that company. Like, okay, yeah, so you work there, right? Because we told you to put companies that where you used to work. Just what you did, bring out the security. No, I never worked in all these companies. Like, so what can I do to help you? I can't help you at that point, because the interview that you went to, you got a job because of what we did for you and what you're able to demonstrate. Now, I don't know what that guy was thinking, and we never saw the resume we gave him. Go do revisions and bring it back. Never brought it back, and just went on doing his own thing, listening to other people. So if you find yourself in that situation, then you have yourself to blame. But we will show you the right way. So Marcus and everybody else who might probably be thinking about, we tailor that to you. So your number of experience, depending on what you are looking for in terms of skills and knowledge on that specific job, will determine how we can package you together and say, okay, yes, you are good for this, or no, right? So hopefully that helps.
Yes, sir.
Faisal, please go ahead.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Edwin.
Good evening.
My question is, how do you literally, most of the jobs you apply for, you hear them talking about 3 years, 5 years of experience. How do you not write the number of years of experience on your job on the resume, but yet you try to imply that you have that understand? I mean, you have those years of experience on it, because you don't want to lie about number of years of experience and then you get caught on that.
Yeah, so like, I mean, I just spoke about that. The number of experience is not only looking at your technical cybersecurity skills and knowledge you are bringing to the table. Is your overall experience, including your soft skills and your technical cybersecurity knowledge and skill, right? If you look at the job description, you are going to see a list of, okay, these are the skill sets we are looking for, and that should be what comprises your number of experience. You see soft skills together with your technical skills on there. So it's a collective number of experience that you are putting on there. Now, to also another twist to this is this. For the job descriptions that are posted that you see, HR posts these on there. I think there was a while ago, there were some funny videos on it where in there, they say it's an entry-level job, right? An entry level is 0 to 6, 0 to 1 year experience. And they've listed this an entry-level role, maybe security analyst entry-level role. And you look down, you come down the list and you see 6 years of experience, 5 years of experience. How is that an entry-level role, right? That is the irony of it. And how that happens is they do copy and paste. So if HR, you know, Derek is also an HR somewhere else, and I'm looking for, I have to post a security analyst role. I'm just, hey, Derek, you have any template on this? No, I just go online and copy somebody's, tweak some things, put my company's name and intro, paste it, forgetting that it has 5 years of experience on there, right? So number of experience, do not worry about that if you're applying for a job. Apply anyways. If they give, there are a lot of folks on here who apply for jobs that were requiring 6 years, for that require maybe 9 or 10 years of experience, and they still ended up getting the job. So number of experience, nobody on an interview is going to ask you, how many years of experience do you have in this before they proceed? Nobody. They don't care about numbers. They care about what you can do. You can be working in security for 10 years, and you would have been doing maybe the same project or the same thing for 10 years. Can we say that person is a very comprehensive overall, security professional who has 10 years? Yes, he's been working for 10 years. But can he work on other projects too as well? Does he have 10 years experience in other projects? Of course not. But does he still have 10 years of experience in cybersecurity? You see where the argument goes? So it's what you can do and the number of projects you have under your belt. Because that is why, I don't know if anybody has gone to an interview on here and they've asked you, hey, do you have the 5 years of experience we're looking for before we proceed with you? If anybody on here has experience that, kindly let me know. They're not going to ask you that, right? Same like certifications. They're not going to say, hey, on there we needed CISA, CISSP. Do you have those before we proceed? No. On your resume, you didn't even have it on there. They still gave you an interview. They are looking for what you can do, right? And what you've done. That makes you qualified to do the job. So let's not get hung up on number of years. If I don't have it, am I qualified? Can I apply? Dr. Edu is blessing you off. Apply anyways. Like, what is the worst thing that they can do? Slap you? No, they're just going to tell you no, right? So apply anyways, and go and demonstrate what you can do. And that is how everybody on here was able to get their job. So don't get hung up too much on the number of experience. They have to put something on there. Just like how, like a funny story, if you look at PCI jobs, they will put the job post on there. And for every cybersecurity job or IT job, they have to put some certifications as part of the format that they have. And in PCI, they will put, for a qualified candidate, you have to have certifications like you have to be a QSA or an ISA, which shows you, that like the irony of this whole thing that, HR is doing. You cannot have a QSA or ISA certification as an individual. So you get that through a company. So if I'm applying for your job, I'm not working for a company anymore. Or even if I am, as soon as I leave that company, I'm no more an ISA or QSA. So how do I get how am I qualified if that is the only thing they are looking for? I have to meet everything to get that job. Then nobody's going to be qualified for that job. You see what I mean? So there is a lot of, don't get too hung up on certifications and number of years. What you should focus on is, do I have enough, projects under my belt? Can I really do this? That is what you should ask yourself and answer it honestly. Because if you cannot do it, you can BS your way into the job. You can be a good talker. You can do 2 or 3 interviews and figure it out. But the job is going to spit you out if you don't know what you're doing. Right. And that is the last thing that you want to do. Right. So go all the way to the top, and then they throw you all the way down, and you have to start at the bottom and start climbing up again. Right. I know people who've had, they are smart. They studied their way through, pass CISA, pass CISSP, took their way through jobs, and they worked for 6 months, earning 170 a year, and they got fired eventually because it caught up with them. They'll be in meetings. This guy was a CISO. They'll be in meetings, and other CISOs from, other, aspects of the company will be, I think it was like director of cybersecurity. They'll be in meetings, and this guy cannot really contribute meaningfully. They'll say something, and something that he should be able to really contribute and should be passionate about, he had no clue. Right. And they were the ones who reported him, hey, you want to check this guy out. It doesn't seem like he knows anything. They had to re-interview him, and they fired him. The guy has come all the way down and start from the bottom. Now start putting all his knowledge piece together. You start getting some projects that you don't want to do that. So kindly don't hang up too much on number of years of experience and certifications. Right? They mean something, but at the same time, they are not really the ultimate that employers are looking at. So I'm going to turn it over to, I think there is a lot for us to talk about. We are almost also running out of time. So Vincent will help us with that question. Give us specifics, like what you actually said. Why should we employ you? Or you can start with, tell me about yourself, and why do you want to work for a company? Why should we employ you? And then we are going to, wrap it up. There's going to be another session next week where we go more into some of the technical aspect. And next week, we're probably going to, cut off Cyber Chat to have more time for this, right? So Vincent, please go ahead. And then if there are any last words from Vincent, Joel, and then Derek, and we will be almost done to wrap it up.
Oh, for me, I think the best approach is just to always say you've read the job description, because that's important. To say you've read the job description and you think you're a good fit for it based on the skills that you have. That's what has always worked for me, so that's what I have to say on that. Because that's most times when they ask you why you want to work with them, I've also looked at your company, I've seen what you guys do, and I think you have a need for this, and this is what I'm bringing to the table. So it works for me that way.
Okay, so let's jump into Joel. Any last words, or if you also want to give exactly what you said? I'm Joel, I'm a security professional. This is what I have.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of just look at what they're looking for. Like I said, I do summarize my resume just to answer, tell me about myself. So at times I say I'm experienced, risk and compliance analyst at so bank, specializing in risk assessments, mitigation strategy, developing and developing mitigation strategy, regulatory compliance, my role. Then I just speak about my role in a summarized, form. Then I move on to the next job. Previously, as a compliance analyst for so bank, I led risk remediation projects and, provided strategic advice to senior management on maintaining robust control environments. Then I talk about the next, job. So it's just about summarizing everything. Like we say, you don't have to speak too much. And then after everything, I just say my expertise, I just tell them what kind of expertise I have, includes risk mitigation, regulatory compliance, a deep understanding of frameworks such as, NIST, CSF, ISO 27000 series, then I just tell them what I have. I hold an MBA in this, I'm a certified so and so in this. And then that is it. Like we said before, they have your resume, so you don't have to speak. And the last thing that I would just add, to whatever has been said is, at times, whatever you want to achieve, the key,
Yes.
to fully commit to it. Start by setting clear, specific goals, and then break them down into, any manageable steps. Stay focused on your purpose, and then don't let distractions. There are so many rejections
Yes.
that will come as a distraction. So
Yes.
you don't let distractions, set you back or maybe discourage you. You just always have to remind yourself, that it's important. Like this goal is important, and that is what I did. We finished this class like almost a year ago. I kept applying to jobs. I wasn't getting anything, but I never gave up. I said to myself, I'm not just going to do the class and okay, give up and go back to what I was doing before. And then I had to motivate myself. At the forefront of my mind, and consistency also count. Like we spoke, Derek and I, Thomas, Hildy, we always keeping in touch and helping each other, doing classes like every week or every other weekend, just to help each other bring up questions, and even when it gets tough, we are there to encourage each other. You can make it, you can do it. Like Derek said, Sam called him and said, hey, you can do this, just go get a job. And today he has a job. So I believe, you always have to remember that it's your dedication and mindset that will, ultimately drive your success. That's what I can say for now.
Okay. Vincent, please go ahead before Derek, and then we'll let Larry go.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a very last point, just because we've talked a lot. Guys, remember, interviews are subjective. The only way you can win is if you keep applying. And I don't know who came up with this quote, but a lot of people seem to agree with it. Looking for a job in itself is a full-time job. So you have to be dedicated to that process. And it gets very frustrating. I'm talking, if I'm out of a job tomorrow and I have to go through this process again, it might take me 6 months to find a job. There's no guarantee that if I go do an interview right now, with all this talk, I'm going to get it. No, because interviews are subjective. It just depends. If you're a person of faith, pray about it. Do your due diligence, pray about it, keep going, because you're going to get disappointment. I'm telling you, there are jobs that I applied for 3-4 months ago, and I'll just all of a sudden an email will pop up. Oh, well, sorry. And I'm like, I didn't even know I applied for this. Remember, there are thousands of people, bots everywhere. People in Russia are probably applying for the same jobs you're applying for. That's why when you go on LinkedIn, you'll see number of people who have applied to a job. It's a lot of people out there looking for a job. So a lot of things have to work in your favor. I got a job one time. They made me a verbal offer. And then they came back to tell me the person who was leaving, because they were going to fill that position, the person I was supposed to replace, something happened, but the person is no longer leaving. You see how after all the work I've done, after everything seems to have aligned for me, all my stars seem to have aligned, the whole thing still went sideways. So you have to be patient with this process, keep going. That's the most important thing. And while you're going, you're not just sitting idle. You're improving your skills every day, and you just keep going. Apply for jobs like your life depends on it. It's a game of numbers too. There's a lot to say about this whole process, but at the end of the day, please keep in mind, if you interview with 10 people, 9 of them might not call you back. But you just need one person to say, oh, we like Vincent, we're going to give him a chance. And that's where you win. Keep going, guys. Every one of us, I strongly believe that the doors would open and we would all get where we need to be. Thank you.
Thank you. And Derek, you can give your last words before and next week, Derek, Vincent, and Joel, you can promise us to, join, come back to be part of our panel. And we are going to add, I think, Emmanuel and Dawn and maybe somebody else to it. And then they're also going to add their own mix to it. All right. So Derek, please go ahead.
Thank you, Doctor. I don't want to take everybody's time. I know we're running late. I think my colleagues have said it all. The only thing that I will tell my family here is, once you see the job, please make sure that if you apply the job, apply as much as you can. But if you apply the job, whenever they contact you for the interview, request the job description, you may forget about the company that you have applied for. And make sure that once you get that, you go through, make sure that you can speak to it. If you need help, reach out to people, friends, get connection with your team, wherever you are doing your internship with your friends, get a connection with them. Get a contact with other colleagues here who have been in industry for a while, that they know what you're doing. When you are on interview, please don't speak too much. Just summarize everything, speak well, take your time, don't rush. If you don't understand the question, ask politely, let them repeat it so you can, by the time they repeat it, even though you have heard it, but you don't have answer to that, ask again for them to repeat. By the time they finish repeat it, you may have an idea how to answer the question. Keep believing God, keep praying, keep applying. Don't be discouraged. It's tough. In fact, I've been there before. I know how it is. It's not easy. So please be courageous and keep on applying. Don't be lazy. And whatever you are doing, the internship, if you're on PCI, DSS, if you're in GRC, wherever you are, whatever level that you are, please take everything very serious. That will land you the job, because the more you study, the more you take your time and study and get to understand what you're doing. It's the same concept that you are going to meet on the interviews that they are going to ask you questions that you have to provide them a very reasonable answers to them. And that will get you a job. That is the only thing I can say. I know my colleagues have said more, and I can't. I don't want to take you guys' time. I know it's too late right now. Hopefully next week we're gonna continue. And then if there's any other question that you guys have, please, if you want to reach out to any one of us, I think Doctor will also put our numbers. You can reach out to us. Whatever encouragement that we can do to help, I think we will do to help each other here. We are family. We are family here. We as I said, I get this job through connection, a family that I met. Samuel is just like a brother to me now. We can talk every day more than 5 times. I may call him immediately. I say, "Get out, man. Are you sleeping?" And then he can also call me on the bed. Look, hey, man, get up. Let's go and find a job, man. So get connections, speak to friends, speak to your colleagues, and try to do the best you can. Apply the jobs, but don't apply the job that you cannot speak to it. Don't just look at it. Oh, once they call you, you can't speak to it. You're gonna have a miserable letter in your email. Look at the job,
Okay.
then make sure that you can speak to it. Thank you.
All right, Derek. Thank you. Larry, please go ahead.
Yes, Doctor, please, I would like the other guy that spoke. I think the two guys that spoke before the last, he spoke something about regulatory compliance. I'm having an interview, and it's all about regulatory compliance. I think he has 1 or 2 experience about that. I would love if I could have his contact to at least maybe could be of help too.
So yeah, if you look in the, I think Larry, so Vincent and Joel, I think it was Joel who spoke about that.
Yeah,
If you can,
Joel.
yeah, you can send your number directly to him. That way you guys can link up, or you can put it in the chat, in the WhatsApp chat, and we will send it directly to you. That way you can contact him. And so this is why we do this, right? If you need help, I mean, they are here, and there is a lot of folks in here who can also help as well, right? But that contact can be made. That shouldn't be an issue, right? So as we are wrapping up.
Should I send my number, or how will I get across to him, sir?
So if you're on the WhatsApp group, just put the request in there. So I think it's Joel and Vincent. You can, hey, I need a number for Joel and Vincent in the WhatsApp group, and we will send it to you.
I will do just that. Thank you.
Yes. So next week we are going to continue with this, and then also look more on the technical side. What were some of the technical questions that were asked? But before we wrap up, there were a couple of few items that I want to touch on. So for everything that we talked about, right, you should know that during the interview, you are being graded. So they are giving you points, and they will make a compilation of that. And for the number of interviews that you go through, each person interviewing you is going to, grade you or rate you, and they have their own scoring system. Now, so if you have that in mind, then you know that everything that you are speaking, like everything that you are saying, you are not just, they are just like listening to you and nodding their head, but they are grading you at the same time. That is not to put you in a more stressful position or in a panic mode, but feel free. You've done your research, you know what you're talking about, you've prepared. So you have to also practice, speaking your answers. So like all of them were, talking about practice. You can practice with your wife, your kids, anybody who will listen. If there's nobody, look in the mirror and say your answers. So for example, simple questions like tell me about yourself. You shouldn't be fumbling with that. And if you don't practice, you are going to be all over the place. So practice, practice, practice. In the military, before we do anything, we do three things. And the first is to practice. Second is to practice. The third is to practice. Right. So you practice, you practice, you practice. And Vincent, so the quote Vincent was talking about is my quote. Applying for a job is your full-time job until you get the job you are looking for. So it's a full-time gig. If you're applying for it part-time or half part-time, then the results you are going to get will be part-time results or half part-time results, right? So a quarter time results, right? So those who treat it like their life depends on it, if you are too comfortable where you are and you are not even trying, you apply for one job every now and then, don't say there are no jobs out there. And the jobs, they are there, but they are not handing it out as candy. You have to prove yourself beyond, and also a lot goes into the jobs. Like Vincent was talking about, he got a job, but they said the person is not moving. So if that was the only thing he was looking at, you'll be more disappointed. And then also to take away some of the disappointment and most of the disappointments, don't be too emotionally attached to any application. If you've gone through first interview, they said you are good, don't let it get into your head. Go to the next one, they said you are the best, don't let it get into your head. Go. So after the interview, until they give you your job offer, don't even think about it, right? If you get too emotionally attached, and that is, you are hoping so much that is going to go on well, that is not also to say you don't have to hope. You have to, hope and, put some hope behind it. But in order not to get to be heartbroken when they say no, do it as, your normal Tuesday, normal Wednesday, and move about your business, right? And then go to the next one, Just do interviews. As you are doing your interviews, you're getting better and better and better, right? So there's a lot of questions. Next week, we will post all the questions that, most of the interview questions, we've compiled it from Joel, Vincent, and then also from Derek, right? We'll post that as well. But next week, we'll look at just a little bit of the soft skills part, and then we move straight into the technical aspect of it. But before we wrap up, for folks who are looking to join the ranks of cybersecurity professionals, our cybersecurity entry-level course is the place to be. It's a very comprehensive, training. If I was supposed to start cybersecurity from scratch, this will be the training that, I'll be happy to find, right? It comes with an internship that we've been speaking about. But before you get into the internship with no background, we encourage you to go through the training and the hands-on working with the tools before you get into the internship. And we have our PCI training also as well for IT folks and cybersecurity folks who've already been in the industry for a while. If you want to specialize like Vincent is doing now, you can be a PCI professional, and you can be the person with the subject matter expertise in your company, helping them stay in compliance, or work in a consulting firm like Vincent, helping other companies stay in compliance with PCI DSS, right? And I had some people go to GRC training and they just, do a compilation of all frameworks. And so people say, oh, I even did PCI, and their whole entire training was for probably 8 weeks. And they did PCI, HIPAA, everything. PCI, just PCI training here is, the minimum is 4 months, right? So that tells you PCI is a whole country on its own. So look into our PCI training also as well. And lastly, our internship. We cannot stress on this enough. Things that you do here, real projects that you're going to be working on, and you can simply transition onto different roles in this. Now, the internship the focus is on the blue side of security, specifically GRC and beyond. You can't do this internship and go be a pen tester, right? I think Kelvin was also speaking to that. We are not saying you do this and you can do every job in the cybersecurity space, including pen tester, forensics. No, we don't do anything on that side. This is blue side, anything third party, incident response analyst, risks. And we can say you can do that because we do projects on those as well. And coming in, we expect you to have some security background before you get into the internship. So if you either go through our entry-level course or you have some training elsewhere and you think that is enough, you just need the hands-on real-world experience doing this, yes, you can jump into this also as well. And now don't forget to show your interest in our upcoming conference. That way we use that for our planning processes also as well. So with that, we are going to wrap up for tonight. And if you want to reach out to any of our panelists, if you are not part of the WhatsApp group, we put the link for you to join it. We are going to post their information in the WhatsApp group so you can reach out to them for any tips. And then also, if you want to learn anything about what they are doing or how they went about the whole interview process, and there's a whole list of other folks that we can add for you to take their brain on this, right? So we are wrapping up for tonight. And next week, we are going to give all the details about the interview prep, specifically GRC interview prep program that we're coming up with. That way, if you are looking for anything within the GRC space, you can jump onto that also as well. Right. So we are way overboard. We appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. And for everybody who put where they are joining us from in the chat, we appreciate it because you ran out of time. We wouldn't be able to go through, but it was a really good discussion. Thank you, Derek, Vincent, and Joel for giving us your time and then also giving us all these insights. And for everybody on here, you are going to be the next to be joining and sharing your own experience, just like how Vincent some time ago was on here listening to other folks, and now he's the man also coming to share his own experience. We appreciate everybody's time. Have a great weekend. Stay hydrated, and we are going to meet next week, same time, for another edition of Cyber Chat. Good night, everyone.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Good night, Dr.
Good night. Good night.
Hello, doctor.